Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 128.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Ben Boyce. Joining me tonight, Mr. Bender Holt, Mr. Frankie Ayler. Gentlemen, how are you this fine evening?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Good wave to the camera there. I like that.
Can't complain.
Yeah. So Brent, not here this week. He's opened up his daddy daycare officially. So he's dealing with that this weekend. Got a house full of kids, so I bid you good luck, sir.
That sounds like hell.
But we're here to soldier on. So I wasn't here last week. Missed you guys. You guys did a great job with the show, though. Listened to it, enjoyed it. So my hat's off to you.
Something looks different about you.
What's that, Frankie?
Can't tell. You look a little, I don't know, wiser?
Yeah, I am a little wiser. I'm a year older, a year wiser. I'm just really old now. That's really what it comes down to. So creeping up there in years. Definitely feeling older as the days go on here. That's for sure. But so what's been up with you guys? Frankie, talk to me, man. What's going on?
Not much. Got my Switch back out of nowhere. That was a surprise. So April early 29th is more confusing now.
Remind everyone where your Switch was. Where was this thing at?
So I lent it to Jen's sister because she wanted to play through Zelda, and who am I to stop anybody from playing Zelda? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the good Samaritan that you are.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the middle of moving, so I was like, it'll be out of the way. I won't worry about breaking anything or losing anything when we move. So I was expecting to have it for another month or so because I also had Shovel Knight on there for her to play. But she's studying. I don't know what she's taking a test for, but she has a big test coming up that she's trying for a certification. So she was like, I need to focus, take this thing back so I don't play anything else. And I was like, God, you're killing me. So yeah, that was cool. Immediately went and bought Severed, something I've been meaning to do for a long time. So I've been messing around with that. It's been really cool. It's also kind of confusing because I thought it was a touchscreen only game, but you navigate with a stick. So
yeah, I forgot about that when I was telling you about it.
Yeah, so I
haven't left out that detail.
Yeah, but it could be either stick. So like what I did earlier was I detached the left Joy-Con, so I just kind of had that off to the side. Then I had like the Switch propped up on a pillow on the couch, and I was just like doing everything that way. So
interesting.
Yeah, so exploring the options that the Switch gives me to play it.
What do you think of the game so far?
It's really cool. Like you said, really friggin' dark. It's kind of there's some kind of messed up stuff in there. But yeah, I mean, like, it's cool. Like, the more you play it, your basic enemies kind of evolve. They have different mutations. They get different, like, power-ups. Like, they'll regain health. They move faster. Like, as you gain more abilities throughout the game, they kind of evolve with that. So, like, I just got, like, this little... You hold the screen to, like, charge up your attack, and that'll, like, break, like, these clusters that form around, like, things in your way. Or in enemies, I learned. So, you can do that to kind of... break off shields and continue fighting enemies like you normally were. You get these masks that kind of gives you different combat abilities as well that have like a mana. Is it a mana like bar that fills up? I think it's a mana bar.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so you can use these like every so often during battle, but so the one I have, like, it blinds enemies, so if they're going to attack me, it'll stop them and then freeze them for a couple seconds so I can get in and do some damage. You can kill off a lot of the smaller enemies that way. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I've done 2 boss fights so far. Those have been really enjoyable. Like, they're pretty intense. I haven't like had any like problems playing anything. Like, it's all like touch interface, but that everything works the way it should. Like, I'm not doing any weird stuff for like swiping and seeing a swipe show up over here or anything like that. So very well made game. Drinkbox did a great job with it.
Yeah. Have you found any of those like health extending items yet? The hearts?
Yes. I've filled up 1 bar so far.
So in most video games, it's like a cute little Valentine's heart, like you know, the little heart shape. In Severed, it's an actual human heart. It looks like a human heart, and like it hovers on the screen in front of you. And the first time it happened, I was like, "What am I supposed to do here?" And I tapped on it, and a bite comes out of it, and you hear a smacking sound. You're eating the heart to extend your health. I was like, "Oh my god!" So that like caught me off guard. I was like, "Ugh." I was like, "Okay, I guess it matches what the rest of the theme of this game."
Yep. I didn't even think anything of it when that happened. I was like, yeah, that seems part of the course.
Yeah. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Really, really great game, though. I'm about 2.5 hours in now, so I just saved the father. So I don't know where I'm heading next, but like the game, every time you save somebody, it brings you back to this kind of rundown house. So you venture back out from there, and you'll find your way from there. But it's got some dungeon crawler aspects, some Metroidvania bits where these different like abilities you get to use in combat. There's also icons in the environment with like the one I just got it looks like a bite, the chomping icon or something. So
yeah,
I don't actually know what it does yet.
Yeah, there's keys you have to find to unlock certain doors and switches you have to pull and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying it though. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to playing more of that.
Nice.
I still shamefully have not played that game. It's been on my Vita since launch, and have not fired it up. I'm a huge Drinkbox fan too. Guacamelee is one of my absolute favorite games on the Vita.
This is nothing like that.
Yeah.
Stylistically, maybe a little bit.
Stylistically, kind of. Yeah, it has the same art style, but it's still a good game. Don't get me wrong, but it's just nothing like any of their other games they've done before.
Yeah, I love Mutant Blob's Attack as well. So I do need to fire up Severed at some point. So good to hear that you're enjoying that. What else going on, man?
Got some burnt pizza from Papa John's today. That's
nice. It's a downer.
It's been a pretty good day, and then I was like, I'm gonna get pizza because it's been a couple weeks since I've ordered pizza, so finally do, and they burn it. It's the first time they've let me down. This Papa John's has been pretty consistently great, so I'm bummed.
They
seem to have doubled down the pepperoni though.
That's good.
That was nice. Yeah.
Did you at least call them and demand a free pizza or something?
Nah, I'm not that type of person.
So what level of burn are we talking about here? Are we talking about like the whole entire like under crust, or just like the end crust is burnt? Like what are we talking here?
A lot of the bottom side is black.
Oof.
The crust is definitely charred. So
that's a tough one when the whole pizza gets a raw deal.
Yeah, like I could live with the crust. You know, I don't mind a little char on the crust, but when it's the whole bottom of the pizza, it's like, I'm sure normally places see that and they're like, we're not going to send this one out. But no, they were just like, oh, screw this guy. Happy Saturday night jerk off.
Maybe they're just super busy, and I don't know.
Probably.
That is disappointing.
Yeah. You know what else is disappointing? I can't beat Matterfall.
Oh no.
Can't do it. I've been playing that this week too. It dropped on Tuesday. Had a clean slate coming out of Mass Effect Andromeda. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play Matterfall. It'll be great. It's a fun game, really, really fun game, very addictive. But I just cannot, for the life of me, I'm not coordinated enough to beat that last boss, and I gave up. I was like, I just can't do this.
I fired up Matterfall on the Indie Spotlight this week, or wasn't really an Indie Spotlight. It's published by Sony, but I fired it up on Tuesday this week. Played it for about an hour or so. Played through the first world. Got a little bit into the second world before the end of the stream there. I really liked it as well, man. Obviously, we all know I'm a huge Housemarque fan. Love those guys. Really love pretty much all of the games that they've released since the PlayStation 3. And Matterfall, while it has some of their signatures to it, it's a different game. You know, it has a different feel to it. And you know, we had an interview with Housemarque on the program last week, and one of the things they talked about was this game is not going to be as intuitive as some of the other games, right? So it's not going to be as pick up and play as Resogun or Stardust or even something like Alienation, you know, where you can just hop in there and you just kind of instinctively know how to play this game. There's a steep learning curve to Matterfall, and by steep, you know, I mean maybe, you know, an hour playing through a few levels. At the end of that, you have a pretty good grasp of the game. Like when I was playing through the game on the stream, I felt really good by the end of the stream. Like I felt like I was starting to really get a feel for the game. I got a feel for how the matter gun works, how movement works, how the 0G and the dashing and blowing up your bombs, and I really started to get a feel for the game at the end of it. And when all of that starts to come together, this game feels exceptional. Like you feel like a badass, right? When you get all of that stuff is firing on all cylinders, you're using your sub weapons, you're using your dash correctly, you're shooting enemies, using your matter bombs, all that kind of stuff, using your augments that you've picked up along the way. So if you can get through that first like 30 minutes and start to grasp your head around exactly how this game works, there's a really fun, really exceptional action title waiting there for you with many of Housemarque's signature aspects to it. Now, I have not played through to the end of the game like you have, so it is something I'm actually going to try to do tomorrow. I'm going to try to hop in there, try and play my way through the last few levels and see if I can tackle this end boss that's giving you so much trouble. I told you that I had the same problem with Nex Machina. The last boss in that game beat my ass for 2 days straight before I actually got around to beating it. So I'm just going to have to steel my resolve at the end there and see if I can get through it. But this is a Housemarque signature. Like the last boss in their games is tough, and so I'm looking forward to playing some more of it though, man. So it's good to hear that overall you've had a really good time with the game. It's just that last boss giving you the run around.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing about it, like I'm not coordinated enough, and there's a lot going on. You know,
Mhm.
as you know, the first boss fight was actually pretty tough for me too. Just that's another one that there's so much stuff going on at once. It was like, what am I doing? So, but
Yeah.
no, this one. So I learned one of the things I learned early on with you mentioned the sub weapons you get, the rail gun. So if you fire this thing off when you're in the air, it actually propels you backwards, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
So there's some pits that do some damage to you if you fall into them, and I put myself backwards into one of those. God, I was so mad because I was low on health, and there was one of the checkpoint rooms was really close up ahead, and I just completely screwed it up. It was one of the longer areas that I was in too, so I was like, man.
Nice. Sorry to hear that. The old reflect back into the pit. Yeah, I've done that in my life before, definitely. Yeah, but I really like Matterfall too, man. When I first started playing, I was like, man, this is really different. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wrap my head around the feel of this game but with it being a twin stick shooter, it makes sense that all of your maneuvers and jumping and everything is on the top buttons. Like you have to keep your thumbs on the sticks at all times to maintain maximum maneuverability. So it makes sense why the jump button's on the top part, while your other sub weapons and everything is on the top, because you do need to keep your fingers on the sticks at all times. So if you can knock down the controls, like I said, you need maybe 30, 60 minutes. After that, you're gonna feel really good when you're playing that game, and it's a really good time. So highly recommended. Hoping I can get in there and hoping I can down that last bastard when I get to him. We'll see. Might be a couple days for me as well. I'm able to get through that. Anything else you've been up to, Frankie?
Not really. I mean, I dabbled with Sonic Mania, but I think some of you guys have played it more than I have. I just played through the first stage, and that was it. So hopped into Matterfall after that.
Cool.
But, yeah, just kind of been waiting. Yakuza Kiwami's right around the corner, so I'm trying not to get super involved in anything. I thought Seven would be a good thing to jump into. I have Wonder Boy I want to hop into. I think I can get through that this week, and maybe what else I was looking at? Oh, Mr. Shifty. So I want to. Since I got the Switchback, I have those sitting on there that was waiting for when we move. So I think I can get through those this week. I don't think they're super time demanding. So I'll be ready for Yakuza Kiwami in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think any of those will hold you down for too long. So you mentioned Sonic Mania there. I know Bender's been playing Sonic Mania. So the world at large has been playing Sonic Mania. They seem to really like this game. Bender, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your experience with it so far, man?
I'm really enjoying Sonic Mania so far. I decided to pick it up on Switch. Went ahead and just downloaded it so I have it digitally. It's the perfect game to have on Switch. I've been playing it mostly on my lunch break at work, just sitting there at my desk playing some Sonic levels. It's super cool. If you love Sonic love the old Sonic games, it's really a blast of nostalgia. It's super cool. It's very lovingly done. You can tell the people who did it are true Sonic fans. It kind of takes like the old Sonic levels and kind of remixes some of them, and also introduces some new stages as well. And it also mixes all that up with some of the like bonus levels that you're familiar with from Sonic 1, 2, and 3. So like the first level when you first start the game is Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. So Green Hill Zone Stage 1, it is very familiar. You know, if you played that Sonic 1, you've been there before. Then you get to the end and the boss is different. Then you get to the second stage of Green Hill Zone, and it's a completely remixed Green Hill Zone stage, an all new one. It's not the classic Green Hill Zone 2. The second world is Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic 2. And the same thing there, like the first stage is the first stage zone from that game, and then the second one is a brand new one that they created for this game. And then, you know, from there on out, most of the levels are brand new. It's, you know, stage 1 and 2 of each zone. Most of them are new. So there's new levels that you've never seen before, new bosses. But they also have like all the cool power-ups from Sonic 1, 2, and 3, like the lightning shield and the fire shield and the bubble shield and all that stuff. And then you've got like I said, the bonus levels. So you've got the bonus levels from Sonic 3 where you're walking along like collecting the blue orbs and avoiding the red orbs, and you have to change direction really fast to avoid everything. I really suck at those. I can't. There's been times where I'll like go straight and then like turn right and like immediately hit a red orb and it's over. Like, oh man. So plus there's also like new bonus levels. There's this one where there's a Chaos Emerald being carted along by this flying ship, and you have to run after it, and it's like a 3D, you know, vector graphics or whatever you want to call it. And you have to collect these blue orbs to run faster, and then you also have to collect rings, because the rings are your timer, and they deplete, and when it runs out, which stage is over. So you have to try to balance between those two things to catch up and get faster and catch up to the Chaos Emerald. So I haven't collected all the Chaos Emeralds yet, but I'm having a lot of fun with those bonus stages and stuff. Yeah, it's just a really cool game. I like all the boss battles and stuff. There's a lot of surprising things, a lot of really cool mechanics that they introduce into it. So yeah, everything about it is awesome. It runs great on the Switch. It looks beautiful. It's got those classic, you know, 16-bit like Sega Genesis type of graphics and everything. So it's super fun. It's really good for nostalgia for people who love Sonic, but I think it's going to also be good for people who've never played a Sonic game before. So it's an awesome game. I like it a lot.
That's awesome, dude. We have a visitor on the podcast here too.
Sure do.
Cooper, what are your thoughts on Sonic Mania? He looked like he was trying to get at the mic there.
Yeah, he heard Sonic and came right over.
He's like, it's meow-tastic.
Yeah, so that's awesome to hear, Bender. Great, glad to hear you're enjoying the game. My collector's edition for Sonic Mania arrived yesterday, and that thing is gigantic. Holy crap! Did not realize it was going to be that big. It's like a scale level, like a full scale like Genesis that Sonic is standing on in that statue. So it's a pretty large box for that game. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to playing it myself.
Yeah, I was like teetering on the edge of ordering one of those. I was like, oh, that looks so cool, but I don't know if I should, and I ended up not doing it. But yeah, those statues look awesome.
Yeah, I ended up getting one. I think Amazon ended up giving you more of a discount than they were supposed to on that or something. I think that's how I ended up, because I only ended up spending like $46 or something on the package. I think it ended up being cheaper than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, when they initially listed it, they screwed up and listed it cheaper.
Yeah.
So you got the regulars of $47.99, I think. It's like a regular price game.
Yeah. So I ended up getting it for a pretty good price when all was said and done. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. I have fond memories of Sonic, especially Sonic 2.
Me too.
Yeah, Sonic 2 was my favorite. That was the first Sonic I had on the Genesis. By the time I got my Genesis, it was, you know, in the middle of the console's life cycle, and Sonic 2 is the game I got with it. So spent a lot of time playing that. it was always cool to just sit down for a couple hours. You know, there was no save games back in the day, so it's just you had to sit down for a couple hours at a time and try to get through the entire game at once. And
yeah, I was telling Frankie the other day, I got so good at Sonic 2 that I could get all the Chaos Emeralds and get Supersonic by like the third or fourth level, I think.
Oh wow!
Because I knew where all the checkpoint things were. Because every time you have 50 rings and you hit the checkpoint, you get the bonus level. And the Sonic 2 bonus level is the one where you're running down the half pipe and collecting rings and avoiding bombs. And I got so good at those bonus levels, I could just get all those Chaos Emeralds really quick and just play through the rest of the game as Supersonic.
Nice.
That was so much fun.
Man, I couldn't get Supersonic till the airship stage towards the end of the game. That was pretty much the time I usually ended up getting him. That was a sweet game though.
Yeah, I loved it.
I could never actually beat Sonic 2. I couldn't get past Metal Robotnik. That was my the bane of my existence.
That was super tough. Yeah, I ended up learning like the patterns and where he was going to aim every time, and like so I could just kind of get through it. But yeah, it took me a while to learn that, and yeah, I eventually was able to do it.
Yeah, I just my younger self just couldn't do it. So still remains unbeaten for myself to this day. Yeah, so Sonic Mania, you're not the only one, Bender. Like I said, many people praising that game, so that's good to hear that Sonic finally, after all these years, has finally put out a game that's representative of his legacy in the industry. What else you been playing, man?
Other than that, I mean, I've been playing Mages of Mystralia for a review, which we'll talk about that a little later because I know it's on the new release list. But other than that, I did play the. I've only played the first episode so far, but I played the first episode of Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh, cool.
Another one that Frankie has been recommending for a while that I should check out. So I thought it was cool. I like the characters. I like the story so far. It's really interesting. So I'm gonna probably try to get through the rest of that and go for the platinum for that. Which Telltale Games platinums are always easy. Most of them you just have to play the game and finish it. But yeah, that's been a really interesting game, and I guess I could talk more about it after I finish it. But it's good so far. I like it.
Was there a bro related cutscene in this one? I don't think it was the right episode. You know what I'm talking about?
Don't think so.
You would know.
Nice.
I love that game.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Good to hear. So, with that, Frankie, we have a ton of new releases this week. This is an epic week for gaming. Let's hop into it. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, dude, this has been an epic month for gaming.
Yeah, it's been really an incredible month in an incredible year of gaming.
Yeah, really. So I'm gonna start things off for the PlayStation. On the PS4, this is some stuff that's available now that we missed last week. But The Bard's Tale Remastered and Resnarkled is an in-exile joint where players take on the role of the Bard, a selfish rogue wary of pointless subquests and rat-infested cellars. It looks pretty entertaining. It's a fantasy RPG for $9.99. It's available on PS4 and the Vita. Nice. Wonder Boy, The Dragon's Tale has a soundtrack bundle now for $24.99. That'll get you the game and the bundle, or the game and the soundtrack, or you can purchase the soundtrack on its own for $4.99, which is a good price. That's a pretty huge soundtrack.
I seem to remember that being a pretty good soundtrack from what I've played of the game.
Yes, quite good. A lot of short tracks on it that I think Brad and I were talking about that one a couple of days ago, but it's a 2-disc soundtrack, but there's a lot of 20, 30, 40-second tracks.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, but
it's like a Mega Man soundtrack.
yeah, exactly. But all very good music, so if you're a fan, check it out. Super Beat Sonic Bundle Pack 1. This is a DLC that adds 3 song packs for freestyle mode for $4.99. Micro Machines World Series got a legendary skin pack, which adds 4 legendary vehicle skins for $1.99. Agents of Mayhem, the franchise Force Skins bundle, is free and adds new outfits for Rod the Bounty Hunter, Hardtack, and Fortune. I don't know, man. I can't get behind that game. I have such a hard time convincing myself I should pick it up, but I hear it's pretty fun though. A couple of people I know that picked it up are having a blast with it, so maybe there's something there after all. Lawbreakers got update 1.1 this week on PS4. No, it doesn't add tutorial videos, unfortunately. What it did do, the key things to note is that it buffed the Harrier has like a death laser ultimate attack, so now players will have a chance to actually deal some damage before dying. The Wraith, the L2, I forget the name of what the actually name of the weapon is, but there's a melee strike that the Wraith does with L2. Now you're only going to be able to deal 125, which is the maximum damage output of that attack if you land a critical hit. Otherwise, you're going to land like 80s, I think, was the gauge. And lastly, the Gunslingers. The teleport can now be recharged with a fully charged alternate fire critical hit. So that's cool. There's also just some general gameplay improvements. You can read all the nitty-gritty details on their website. So if you want those, go seek those out. And lastly,
you still enjoying that one, Frankie?
Yes, that game is really good. I've been played a lot more after the stream, so probably about 2 hours like good play time now. But it's just like Brett and I initially were complaining about the assassins, just because like those people can mess you up. But that class, like really, like it feels good once you wrap your mind around how it works, because you essentially you have like a grapple and you have a sword. So players who are good with the assassins know if you like go to your alternate, you hit circle and they'll pull out a shotgun. So if you're a good assassin player, you're grappling around, you're getting into the action with the grapple. You flip over to your shotgun, do a lot of damage, grapple out, switch back over to the grapple, get out of there, and that's the effective way to play that class, which I'm starting to like wrap my mind around. I like using the assassin to get in, like a lot of the ones that you're grabbing objectives and trying to get to a goal. I like using the assassin just to get in there, get the thing, get back to our base, go score a goal and blitzball. But yeah, dude, that game is just addicting and so much fun. I love it. The soundtrack too is amazing. Actually hijacked JD's show this week, so there's a couple tracks from this game that I wanted. This is what started me like, hey, I want to do an episode for you. There's a couple tracks on the soundtrack that I was like, you need to listen to these. They're so freaking good. So yeah, the next play and listen is me, and there's some Lawbreakers music on there that you guys should listen to because it's great.
All right.
But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, still playing Lawbreakers, and surprisingly, I haven't really had any problems with getting into a match either. That was one of the things to mention in this update was there's some matchmaking improvements. So yeah, it's a good time. Good. The Division got update 1.7. This actually rolled out early last week, but this added global events and new gear. So if you're a Division fan, you have more stuff to check out. New this week. So the big one, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. This is the standalone single-player story expansion set after Uncharted 4, starring Chloe. So the story is about Chloe's quest to recover an ancient artifact known as the Golden Tusk of Ganesh. It's set in India's Western Ghats. Chloe enlists the help of a ruthless mercenary for hire that we met in Uncharted 4, Nadine Ross, to help her locate the Tusk as Chloe confronts her past and decides what to sacrifice to forge her own legacy. So this game's said to be around 10 hours long and is, of course, free to season pass owners for Uncharted 4, which, along with this release, you're going to see a Lost Legacy character pack for the Uncharted 4's multiplayer mode. So look forward to that. But if you happen to listen to our show and get to this segment before midnight on Monday night, pre-order the game. It'll let you Jack and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy, the PlayStation 2 on PS4 Classic. We'll touch on a little bit here. Ben, come to you, man. I know you're a big fan of Uncharted 4. How excited are you about Lost Legacy? What are you feeling?
I am extremely excited for the Lost Legacy. Like I can't wait to play this game. It just feels like we're getting like a bonus Uncharted game that we weren't even supposed to get, This was supposed to be a small DLC pack. I'm sure when they originally set out to make this game, they were probably thinking something in the 3 to 4 hour range for this. Since then, it's ballooned into an entire like Uncharted experience. I mean, an 8 to 10 hour Uncharted experience. This is how long the first Uncharted game was. So the fact that we're getting a game of that length and magnitude and scope for a for $39.99 for free if you have it as part of the season pass, it's a pretty incredible deal. And bar none, Naughty Dog is my favorite developer making games right now, and they've done something that nobody else has been able to do. For myself personally, is they have an ability to make a group of characters, and that characters and situations and like these people that you just connect with, and you just have a genuine. They just generally feel like authentic people in these extraordinary situations, but they feel like real people. And what they've been able to do that other developers haven't been able to reach yet is they've just been able to make characters and story just on a level that's beyond everybody else. So I'm enamored with the way that they make games, and I can't wait to get into Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. They've got some different mechanics that they're toying with in terms of how the levels are laid out, from what I understand about it, which sounds really interesting. So I like Chloe, I like Nadine. The fact that both of them are going to be together on this adventure, I think there's some really interesting dynamics that are going to be at play. So just absolutely pumped to get into this. Can't wait to fire it up on Tuesday, man.
And Bender, I know you also enjoyed Uncharted 4. You are looking forward to more Uncharted?
Always, yeah. I'm really excited about this one as well, to have a full-fledged Uncharted game, for $40, and it's I like the characters and everything. I'm really looking forward to seeing this game and experiencing it and everything. As Ben was saying, I mean, Naughty Dog, they always have a great story and lots of cool action and cool set pieces and everything. So yeah, I'm super excited about this, and it's one I've been looking forward to since I first heard of it. So I'm definitely down to play it when it comes out.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm coming around on it. I don't know when I'm going to pick it up, just because, like I said, I'm trying to kind of keep a clean slate until Yakuza. But I've been watching some gameplay of this. It looks like fun. I love Chloe. She's one of my favorite characters throughout the series. So I'm personally also looking forward to hopping in there at some point. So next up on the list, Madden NFL 18. Yeah, wahoo! If you feel like spending $80 to get the greatest of all time edition on Tuesday, good for you. Otherwise, everyone else can pick it up on Friday.
Yeah.
Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Legacy Collection. This is a Friday release. This collection is going to house Ultimate Ninja Storm 1, 2, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 Full Burst, and Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 Road to Boruto, not Road to Burrito. The physical edition.
That changes things considerably.
Yeah, a little bit. But the physical version of this will come with a exclusive metal case, an art book, and a 12-minute bonus anime disc focusing on Boruto's adventure. All 4 games include all major DLC, which is characters, costumes, and scenarios, but Bandai has noted that not all DLC content is available in this collection. For those of you who already have Road to Boruto, there's going to be a digital trilogy available as well, and in the first 3 games, and they'll also be available individually. So if you didn't like one and just want to get 2 and 3, you can do that. Dan, I know you've expressed some interest in this collection before. You picking this up on Friday?
Yeah, I have this pre-ordered, so it is. It will be making its way over to me this Friday. I just thought this was a stellar deal, dude. I mean, we're talking like what is it, $69? Yeah, $80 for all 4 games, and the 3 previous Ninja Storm games. This is the first time they've been remastered. So they've been remastered. They're all in this package. I've always been interested in these games. They always reviewed pretty well. Like, people speak highly of them. Naruto fans really like them. They always looked really fun and interesting. I don't know a ton about the Naruto universe, but I just love the way these games look. I like CyberConnect too as a developer. I think they've done some cool stuff with these games in the past. I'm trying to think. Was it the first Naruto game they made on the 360? Don't remember if it was them that made it. I think it was, but that game was really cool. But I just I thought this was an awesome deal. I like the package that you get in the Legacy Collection. So for $80 plus 20% off, like, I was totally in on this. So that was an easy order for me.
Yeah, I want to pick these up too. I have a couple friends actually that I work with who are big fans of the anime series, and they never played the games, but they've kind of gotten more into gaming like over the years. So I know they were. I think a couple of them picked up 4, but I haven't really talked to them, so I don't know like if they've liked it or not, or if they're gonna pick this up. But I've always heard really cool things about the series, so I do want to hop into these games someday. But they're time investments, from my understanding. So.
Yeah, and Ninja Storm 4 is still like a full-priced game, right?
Yep. Yeah.
From what I've seen, and it comes with that and its expansion, right? So you get that. You get 1, 2, and 3 with all of the major DLC. Hey, this is a steal, dude.
It really is. So yeah, I'm likely going to end up with this by the end of the week. So speaking of games I'm going to end up with by the end of the week, Mages of Australia. This is a top-down action-adventure game where players have the ability to craft their own spells to defeat enemies. Now, Bender, you mentioned earlier you played through this. You'll have your review up on the site on Tuesday morning. Mm-hmm. So if you're curious to hear Bender's thoughts, www.shortpause.com Tuesday morning to read Bender's complete review of the game. But Bender, just briefly and I guess vaguely, what is Mages of Australia?
It's this game, but just in general terms. I mean, obviously I can't share my opinions on it yet, but it's a game where you play as this girl named Zia, and she's got magical abilities, but she's just learning how to use them. And as that description said, I mean, you craft your own spells. That's the hook to the game. Is you find these runes, these like stones that you attach to your spell book, and it changes the behavior of your spells to give them different effects. So, for example, a simple wand strike will just do a regular attack, but you can attach a rune that causes an explosion at the same time, so it makes it stronger. Or there's different types of spells, so then they're mapped to different buttons. So there's like triangle, which is like a attack that like shoots out things. R2 is one that an attack that a move that more affects you as individually. For example, your default R2 is just a shield that you hold up, but if there's a movement rune that you can attach to that, and instead of a shield, that changes it to a dodge move that you like slide along the ground to dodge. So there's some really interesting things going on in there, in the way you can change your spells around, and they don't tell you what to do. They just you just kind of have to figure it out. So you find these different runes throughout the game. Later on, you can even change the elemental properties of the spell, so you can go from like fire to electricity to earth, stuff like that. It's got quite a bit of content to play through. I'd say a minimum of 10 hours of gameplay, that if you just go through it without finding all the secrets and stuff, I'd spend more time on the game to finish it. But yeah, you'll be able to look forward to seeing my full review, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about it next week as we discuss the game, and that way the embargo will have lifted by then, and I'll have some time to share my full thoughts on it. But check out my review of Mages of Australia, and that's all. That's
awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this game. The gameplay I've seen looks really cool. It's been out on Steam since May, I believe. So it's jumping to consoles this week. If you backed it on Kickstarter, you probably already have a code in your sitting in your email. So make sure you check and look out for that. One cool thing to note. Dan Edelman has mentioned that Limited Run's going to be doing a physical version of this down the road. So
interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Fun fact on that, Frankie. As part of the Kickstarter program, they actually offered Kickstarter backers the option to purchase a limited edition version of the limited run games, Mages of Australia. So I actually purchased one of the limited edition, limited run games. So I will have one of those whenever they become available.
Doubly limited. Nice.
Yeah, doubly limited. So I figured this was going to be like a really collectible item that was going to be highly sought after. So I thought it would be cool to have one of those in the collection.
Forward thinking, big fan.
Also, your name will be in the credits if you back the game. That's another thing.
Nice.
I found my name. I got a screenshot of it.
Nice.
Did you see mine in there?
I didn't know. Well, I didn't think of it. I didn't know where to look.
Bender, you selfish bastard.
You probably backed it at a higher tier than I did. So I'll need to know which tier you backed it at.
Don't remember. I did the one with the soundtrack, and
spent the most money possible.
And then I upgraded it to get the limited run, limited disc. So I don't know.
You might have been on the same tier as me. I guess I'll have to go back and look at it again, because mine was called Adventurer, the Adventurer tier.
Ooh,
so
saucy. I like
it.
Yeah, they did something like that with Plague Road where the backers got an exclusive cover variant. Dude, the cover variant for Playground looks awesome.
Really?
It's like this kind of like it's got this blood red background and like the doctor. Is it a doctor? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's a doctor.
Yeah, so he's kind of like done in like a stained glass style on the cover. It looks really slick.
Nice.
So, but up next on the list, Thimbleweed Park, making its way to PlayStation 4. This is the latest point-and-click adventure game from Ron Gilbert, who of course is well known for Maniac Mansion and the Monkey Island games. Thimbleweed Park begins as a murder mystery, but things begin to get weirder, and the rabbit hole becomes much deeper as players will take on the roles of 5 different characters. Reyes and Ray, of course, are the agents who find the dead body at the beginning of the game. Then the roster expands to Ransom the Clown, Dolores, a wannabe game designer, and, hey, Franklin, a dead pillow salesman. So, but yeah, this game got a lot of praise when it came out on Xbox and PC back in March. Again, they announced the Switch version last week that'll be out in September, which has touchscreen support. So I'm going to double dip and pick it up on there myself, just because I think a touchscreen for a point-and-click adventure game, good way to go. Bender, you smarter than I am. You did not pick this up on another console already. Are you gonna get it on PlayStation this week? You waiting for the Switch? What are you thinking?
When I found out about that Switch version with the touchscreen controls, I was like, "Yep, I'm kind of glad because I really wanted to check this game out because I love point-and-click adventure games." But I was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't now. Glad I waited because that's where I'm gonna pick it up. That seems like the ideal place. So I'm looking forward to that."
Yeah, I knew when I bought it on Xbox, it's like, this is either going to come to PlayStation in a month, or they're going to put it somewhere else, and I'm going to be like, man, should have waited. So, of course, a week later, they announced PlayStation version and the Switch version. I'm just like, man. But Ben, I know you've expressed some interest in Thimbleweed Park. You picking this up this week?
I am. I can't wait to meet Ransom the Clown. I think that guy looks awesome. So, yeah, just some totally bizarre sounding characters, like you mentioned, the dead pillow salesman, the clown. Just these characters sound awesome. We know from past experiences how Ron Gilbert's crazy mind works. So I imagine this game's going to be just chock full of just wild things. Like you said, it was received very well on the PC and the Xbox One. A lot of people had good things to say about Thimbleweed Park. So definitely we'll be adding this one to the collection, no doubt.
Awesome. Next up on the list, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 3, More Than a Feeling. So in the interest of kind of avoiding spoilers for what's been going on so far, the events of the game thus far are going to lead to a really big decision that's going to fall into Star Wars' lap that could change the fate of the galaxy and the Guardians forever. So if you're invested in the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy series, Episode 3 is out this week. Velocity 2X, the Critical Mass Edition. It's a short pause, love to shoot 'em up. But it's getting a retail release on PlayStation 4 and Vita. This package is in all of the DLC that's been released for the game, and I believe there's the Critical Mass Edition is like a collector's edition from Badland Games. So they've published some cool stuff. Sexy Brutale. They're going to be publishing Axiom Verge, so it should be a good package to pick up. Next up on the list,
excellent game.
So I've heard.
Really good game. If you guys have not played that game, it's a must play.
Yeah, I'm thinking about picking this up. I don't think I have Velocity 2X. Wasn't one of them on the Vita?
They are both on the Vita. There's Velocity Ultra, and then Velocity 2X came to both the Vita and the PS4. Velocity Ultra might be on the PS4 as well. I don't remember, but
I think it was a PS Plus game at some point because I'm pretty sure I have it.
Okay, it might be. Maybe it was on the PS3. Maybe that's what it was on. But there's been multiple Velocity games. Velocity started as a PS Mini, then it got upgraded to Velocity Ultra, on the Vita and PS3 or PS4, and then Velocity 2X on the Vita and the PS4. These games are awesome on the Vita. They're awesome on the PS4 as well. They're just fantastic games. Velocity 2X especially. We actually Brent and I reviewed the game for the site. So if you're curious to see our thoughts, seek them out on there. But it's a fantastic game.
That's www.shortpause.com, yeah?
Yeah, I like it. Well done.
Awesome. Next up, The Escapist 2. This is coming digital and retail this week because, of course, the follow-up to the wildly successful Prison Escape game. So this one, differences from the first game, you're getting a dedicated tutorial, which is nice because I had no idea what the hell I was trying to do the first time around. There will be 10 unique themed prisons to escape from, including 3 transit prisons. Each prison can be played solo or, new to the sequel, co-op with up to 4 players with drop-in, drop-out, local, and online. So there's also a new combat system, new character customization, so you don't have to just walk around with that orange jumpsuit, as well as new ways to escape and new items to craft, like a homemade taser.
Ooh.
So, but I know you've kind of expressed some interest in the Escapists. Any interest in the sequel?
I do have a curiosity with this game, and I know Brent hasn't had the best experience with the Escapists, but yeah, I like the concept of the Escapists. I like the kind of the crude aesthetic of the game. I think the Escapist 2 sounds really rad. So at some point, I would like to experience this series. I have a morbid curiosity about it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's like really good once you actually understand what you're doing. It's just that first game was really hard to kind of wrap your mind around what you were trying to do.
Gotcha. So it was just really like obtuse in terms of trying to figure out like what it was. Yeah, I can see that. That frustrates me when games do that as well.
Mm. Yeah. So hopefully this time around seems like it'll be a lot more welcoming to new players. So.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Next up, Bleed. This is a re-release of the 2012 Xbox Live Indie Games title. It's a twin-stick shoot-'em-up. It's $9.99. The game features a lot of puzzle platforming and a Platinum Games-esque slow-motion bullet dodging mechanic. This is actually hailed as the best of the titles that came to that Xbox Live Indie Game program. So, Ben, I know you were pretty excited about this when it was announced last month. We initially thought it was just coming to Xbox, but showed up on the drop this week, so this seemed like a good contender for the Indie Spotlight this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I was excited about this, like you said, when I saw it on Xbox. Like, man, this looks really rad. Found out it's actually coming to PS4 this week as well, so we will fire this up on the Indie Spotlight, and we're gonna have a very special Indie Spotlight this week, a double header. So
yes.
we've been trying to do this more and more with the Indie Spotlight. It's been kind of one of those years where there's just so many great games that come out every week. It's hard to just spotlight one of these titles. So Bender, being the swell fella that he is, he's gonna hop in. He's gonna stream Mages of Australia for us at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Tuesday night Indie Spotlight as our main event, as we normally do at 10 p.m. every Tuesday evening. And then following that at 11 p.m. Eastern, I will hop in and stream Bleed on the second part of our Tuesday night Indie Spotlight doubleheader. Really looking forward to playing this one. It looks like something right on my alley. So it should be an awesome night of indie gaming Tuesday night on our YouTube page.
Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe, and we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Up next, Bender, Chroma Gun. This is a first-person puzzler game where you blast colors at walls and enemies. It's been heavily compared to Portal. Players have utilized a Chroma Gun, which only shoots in red, yellow, and blue. And you'll, of course, mix colors to get orange, purple, and green, and gray to kind of cancel out any mistakes. But Bender, I know you were let down last week when Valve announced the card game instead of Portal 3. And I know this isn't Portal, but damn it, this looks like a Bender joint. Have you taken a look at any gameplay for this? Are you excited about Chroma Gun?
I had never even heard of it until I was looking at the outline. You guys were telling me about it. But anytime I hear anything compared to Portal, my ears perk up because I love that game. I saw some screenshots. That's all I've seen so far, and it definitely has a Portal-y vibe to the screenshots and everything. So yeah, it's something I might want to check out. I love puzzle games, and if it's even half as good as Portal, then it'll be an awesome game.
Yeah, cool. I think reading about it, it's clear they were inspired by Portal. That's one of their influences on making this game. So I think there's definitely going to be some of that vibe here for sure, man.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope you picked it up. If you do, let me know how it is.
Cool.
Up next, One Piece Unlimited World Red Deluxe. This is a Friday release. It's a re-release of the 2014 action-adventure title that came out on the Wii U, Vita, and PS3. This is packing in more than 40 DLCs. Pro support will see up to 4K support with 60 frames per second, while the PS4 will be at 1080-60. There will also be a Switch version releasing next month that will also run at 1080-60. Ben, I know you've expressed some interest in Naruto. You familiar with One Piece and these games at all?
I haven't. I don't know that I've played too many One Piece games in the past, but Taz loves One Piece. It's an anime he's always telling me about. He loves Naruto as well. And he's always getting me to try to watch some of these things. I just haven't got around to it. It's a big time commitment, especially with One Piece. One Piece has 900 episodes or something at this point. It's insane. But to hear that this game's going to be in 4K 60 on the Pro is pretty cool. 1080 60 on the regular PS4 as well. So yeah, this is like a high octane action game. So getting this at 60 frames is badass, man. I'm just curious to see what it looks like in motion, because this is a cool looking game with like that cartoon anime aesthetic. So just seeing this thing run that smoothly is probably a sight to behold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm intrigued about this one too. One Piece is another one I have a coworker who is obsessed with. Yeah. I remember when he finally finished the series, like he was just like, dude, like it was this major accomplishment, because like you said, there are upwards of 900 episodes, and
it's insane.
So. Yeah, awesome. But next up, Super Combo Man Smash Edition. This is a 2D platformer brawler where players will defeat enemies using some sweet combos, like fireballs and uppercuts. Ben, I think this is another Indie Spotlight contender. This just looks right up your alley.
Yeah, man. If we were doing a triple header, this would have been the 12 o'clock game. Would have been Super Combo Man at midnight. Yeah, I think the game looks awesome. Great aesthetic style. I grew up playing beat 'em up games like Final Fight and like some of the old Capcom arcade games. Double Dragon, all that kind of stuff over the years. So this is a game that harkens back to my formative gaming years. I definitely want to play this at some point.
Yeah, same. It looks like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
F1 2017 is a Friday release. That's the latest in Codemasters F1 Racing Series. Spartan is a Wednesday release that we can't find a damn thing about other than the brief description on the PlayStation blog. That's just an epic 2D platformer running on Unreal 4, featuring silky smooth animations, pixel perfect controls, whatever the hell that means, challenging gameplay, huge non-linear levels, and an awesome original soundtrack. Now, last time we had a game like this on the list, it ended up just being an absolute shit show, so buyer beware. Swap Quest.
I like this description too. It just sounds like the most awesome game ever. An Unreal Engine 4 game with just everything about it is just perfect. But yet,
and awesome.
There's not a single video or website or anything about this game anywhere that I can find.
Yeah, the only thing I think we have is like just a generic looking cartoony Spartan soldier guy.
That's it. That's
with an equally uninspired logo for the game.
That's it.
So. Buyer definitely beware on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Swap Quest. This is a puzzle RPG game where players will swap out the map tiles to progress through levels. This looks actually really intense. Watching some videos of boss fights unfolding with all this tile swapping.
Very interesting idea.
Yeah. Looks like look. If I had a hard time like grasping Matterfall, I feel like Swap Quest, I probably wouldn't make it past the first level.
It's definitely high on the multitask list.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The Book of Regrets. This is an interactive dungeon crawler. Players will escape dangerous dungeons, befriend or kill enigmatic creatures, and solve puzzles. This kind of has like a Shadowgate vibe to it. So if you're interested in those, check that one out.
I'm surprised when I pulled up the video. I thought for sure this was an ad for the Brent Felsing autobiography, but seeing what it actually was as a game, I was shocked.
I was waiting for a Brent Felsing joke in there. This game seemed like the one.
I got you, man.
I'm not disappointed. Welcome back. Duck Game. This is a Towerfall-esque multiplayer game where players will step into the shoes of some pretty badass-looking ducks as they blow their friends away with shotguns, net guns, mind control arrays, saxophones, and a large, irresponsible list of weapons. So I believe this has online multiplayer. This looks like going to be a lot of fun if we all sat down and played this one.
It does look wild.
Wolfenstein 2-pack. This is a retail release that will house the Old Blood and the New Order. So if you have yet to experience either of these games and you're excited about New Colossus coming out this fall, pick this up. It's only $29.99. And Wolfenstein the New Order, one of the best games of 2014 in my opinion. Up next, as we alluded to earlier, Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. This is the PlayStation 2 on PlayStation 4 Classic, not to be confused with the PlayStation 3 remaster. So if you've never played this game, this is, of course, a PlayStation 2 Naughty Dog game. It's all right. I mean, I'm not the biggest Jak and Daxter fan. Ben, you might have enjoyed those a lot more than myself.
Yeah, I actually really liked the Precursor Legacy. I thought it was a good take on the Mario 64 style of formula, that style of platformer. I remember really enjoying it on the PlayStation 2. I obviously haven't played it since then, so I don't know how it's aged. But back in that period of time in the early 2000s, I loved this game. Thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I played through it when it came out on the PlayStation 3, and I mean it's aged all right. There's definitely games that have aged a lot more poorly than this, but there's still some minor gripes about it that even carrying into that remaster kind of annoyed me. The controls are a little janky and stuff like that, just product of its time mostly. But like overall, I thought the story was really cool. The characters are really great. The worlds are really cool. So it's a good game for all intents and purposes. So if you've never played that, look for that this week on the PlayStation 4. A couple of limited run things. Just want to make a quick note that as of this recording, it's a Saturday night, there are actually still a few hundred copies of N++ left. So if you're interested in picking up a copy of that, $24.99, it can be yours. As for this week, on Friday, Ys Origins comes out on PS4 and Vita. There's also a collector's edition that I'm sure they'll have like something with both versions in, because they tend to do stuff like that. I don't know what their plan is. They've been talking about doing something differently because a lot of people are pretty pissed off over Wonder Boy and Night Trap. So they seem to have come up with a solution that'll hopefully make people calm the hell down. I just wish people would understand that it's limited run games, not like Walmart bargain bin games. So if you're making too many and the demand just isn't there, like, what are you supposed to do about it? But whatever. Outside of that, As Divine Hearts, also getting a release this week for PS4 and Vita. Don't know quantities just yet. The links aren't available on the sites. Yes, these are just the announcements they've made on their Twitter page. So you can look for both of these games on Friday. One other thing to note really quick, this is not tied to Limited Run themselves, but V-Blank Entertainment, they're the publishers of Retro City Rampage. They've released a PlayStation 4 retail version of Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition for $29.99. So that's limited to 3,800 copies. So if you're interested in adding Guacamelee to your shelf, head over to V-Blank's website. I really should order that.
How any idea how many are left?
No, they literally don't display anything on there, so I'm not sure. They're still available. I do know that. So
yeah, I did notice that. So who knows?
You picking one up?
I don't know. I own the game several times over. Like I own it on the PS3, I own it on the PS4, I own it on the Vita. I don't really need to buy the physical copy, so right now I'm gonna hold off unless I just impulsively decide to buy it. But as of right now, I don't need to add it to my collection.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm trying not to, but it's also a game that I like a lot, so I kind of want to get it.
Yeah.
But like you, I bought it on PS3. I bought it again on PS4. I bought it on Xbox. I bought it on the Wii U. Like I bought Guacamelee several times now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, what's one more time, really? But
I love that game though. Really, outside of Metroid and Castlevania, it really is one of the finest examples of a Metroidvania game that there is today. It's an excellent game.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you're into physical games, definitely Guacamelee, well worth your time and space on your shelf. On the PlayStation VR this week, Soul Dimension. This is a VR puzzle horror game where players will assume the role of Frank, a man with the ability to enter dreams of others as he sets out to rescue Daisy, his deceased daughter, from said dreams. Not a whole lot more available on that game right now, so if you have a PlayStation VR, look for that on Tuesday. And then just a quick note on the PlayStation 3, Steriden available this week.
Good game.
So I've heard. I believe we did an Indie Spotlight for that.
I did. Previous Indie Spotlight game. Hard as balls, but a lot of fun. Rocking soundtrack, just a hard metal soundtrack that'll just get you amped up to shoot things in its procedurally generated levels, but cool game.
Awesome, yeah. On the Vita this week, Velocity 2X, the Critical Mass Edition, releasing on there, as well as Neverend. This is a Friday release. This is a roguelite dungeon crawler where players wake up in another dimension where there is no sun and the whole world has caved in. You're surrounded by enemies and you learn how to survive.
That's dark. Literally.
Very dark. Mm-hmm.
There's no sun.
At all.
Yeah.
Everything's caved in.
Oh, boy.
Hopping over to Xbox, just something I want to clear up. We'll dive more into this later in the show, but We Happy Few is not out of game preview, as we reported last week. The price has increased, and the Life and Technicolor update is live, but The story elements will remain absent until full release, which was dated for next April. So sorry about that. If you picked it up, at least we saved you $20-$30. So there's that. Available now this week on Xbox, the Super Beat Sonic Track Pack 1 and Arcade Archives Neo Geo Magician Lord, which is a side-scrolling action title, available now, as well as the Halo Wars 2 Yap Yap the Destroyer Leader Pack for Blitz Mode are available now. That was a great name for a character.
Yap Yap.
Coming this week, outside of Madden NFL 18, The Escapist 2, Episode 3 of Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Wolfenstein 2-pack, Swap Quest, Duck Game, Super Combo Man, Spartan. Why is that coming out there too? Don't fall for it over there either. Chroma Gun, Bleed, the Naruto Shippuden Ninja Storm Legacy Collection, F1 2017, and Mages of Australia, which is a Friday release on the console. But also joining those releases this week is Masquerada, Songs and Shadows. This is a Wednesday release. It's a top-down action game that takes place in a city that doesn't believe in an afterlife, and only the rich and powerful are allowed to be remembered when they die. Players will utilize special masks that grant extraordinary powers to make their way through the game. Looks pretty cool. Rivals of Aether. This is a Wednesday release. Hopefully. This is currently available in game preview, so Wednesday will be hitting its 1.0 full release again, hopefully. But this is a Smash Brothers kind of clone fighting game. Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest, actually, a character in the game, which I believe you have to purchase separately for $4.99. But yeah, this actually looks pretty cool. So if you're a fan of fighting games, check that one out. Knock Knock is a Wednesday release. This is the side-scrolling horror game. It's been available on PlayStation for a while now. But I've always heard really cool things about this game. I've been meaning to play it myself. Just haven't found the time to get around to it. But I've heard a lot of great things about that. So if you like horror games, look for that on Xbox on Wednesday. Black Sea Odyssey. This is a violent top-down roguelite space shoot 'em up with RPG elements and enormous enemies that use runic technology to take down. This game actually looks really intense.
It does.
Absolute Drift Zen Edition is a Friday release. This is the minimalist drifting game making its way to Xbox. Ben, you streamed this when it came out on PlayStation on the Indie Spotlight. Is someone picking up?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's I wasn't able to wrap my head around the drifting during the hour that I spent playing it on the Spotlight, but I love the aesthetic of it. It's a fun game to play. It's just tough, so be prepared for the learning curve that is behind this game, because it's not easy.
Yeah. Path of Exile. This is a Thursday release. This is an online action RPG in the vein of games like Pillars of Eternity and Divinity. Looks pretty cool, so check that out. Battle of the Bulge is a Friday release. This is a World War II strategy game where players will command infantry, mechanized, and armored units, while taking into account the nature of the terrain and its effect on the assailants and defenders, which, of course, you're under the fire of a time limit. Yeah, wahoo. So if you're a strategy game fan, check out Battle of the Bulge on Friday. Eventide 2, The Sorcerer's Mirror, is a Friday release. This is another Artifacts Monday hidden object game.
Oh,
Yay.
boy.
Eternal Blade. This is a Wednesday release. This is a fantasy 2D side-scrolling action-adventure game. Actually, it looks pretty cool. So, onto Nintendo. On the Switch, what we missed last week, Skyride. This is a $7 action title where players will ride on a high-speed bike that has full weapons at your disposal to take out waves of enemies. And Arcade Archives, Neo Geo Magical Lord, also available on Switch. Coming this week, Minecraft Story Mode, The Complete Adventure. This houses episodes 1 through 8 of the first season. So if you have not played those yet, you can pick this up on the Switch this week. Forma.8 is a Thursday release. This is the Metroidvania action-adventure title that's been released on other platforms. I think it was earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
But correct me if I'm wrong, this is also an Indie Spotlight title we did.
It was. Lots of Indie Spotlight titles on the list this week. It's Forma 8's actually a game I enjoyed a lot when I played it. It's a more subdued and mellow take on the Metroidvania genre, but it's a cool game. It's got a very, very unique art style about it, and the boss fight that I got to during the stream was a lot of fun. It's just it's a neat game. If you like Metroidvania games, it's a little bit of a different take on it. Give it a whirl.
It looked a little pixel junky to me.
Yeah, definitely got some pixel junky flavor to it.
Nice. Yeah, I still haven't picked that up. I know Limited Run is going to do a release for that on the PS4, so...
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, so I'll probably end up grabbing that. So I might pick this up on the Switch just to have something to play on there as well. Um, but also, probably coming this week, we'll find out. Pixel Lines DX. This is a puzzle game where you're trying to match numbers together on a board to score points. Looks like you have 8. You're trying to find a path to another 8. So if you're into those types of games, look forward to that. The Wii U. What we missed last week. Got them all, Coach.
All right. Good job.
Coming to the Wii U this week, just an announcement that GameStop has Switches in stock. So, maybe consider picking one of those up. The 3DS, what we missed last week, Alchemic Dungeons is a $5 roguelike dungeon crawler with item crafting. Coming this week, again, just a reminder that the new 2DS XL is available now. And then, lastly, before we throw it back over to you for news, there's a quick PC release we wanted to note this week, and that's Quake Champions will be hitting early access. So if you've been waiting for that, this is your week to hop in there. I believe they're doing that big esports tournament thing for lots of money at some point soon, too. So
sounds about right.
Cool. But yeah, Ben, that'll do for the new releases.
Awesome. Thank you, Franklin. That was an epic list of new releases this week. And we're not even in the fall yet, which is the scary thing. August has just been an incredibly intense month for game releases. If you weren't able to get to your backlog prior to August, you will be adding several titles to that before you get to September. So it's a tough time to keep up with all these things, but it's fun to be a gamer right now. There's lots of awesome stuff out there to play.
Dude, it almost feels like the indie developers all got together and they're like, look, you know how September and October are just like the AAA release time? What if we all release our games in August?
It really feels like that. Yeah. They're like, there's this little game called Destiny 2 coming out. We should probably get out before that. So everybody's just been when we looked at the list for this month, there was probably 20 games that I wanted to play in the month of August, just looking at the release list. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then you've added 20 to that list since then.
Yeah, exactly. Once we figured out all of the release dates got lined up, then we added several more to that. So, so go out, buy some games this week, have some fun. There's more coming next week. So, all right, let's get into the news now, fellas. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Our top story, though, this week, Crackdown 3 has been delayed until 2018. Microsoft says the destruction-filled sandbox game needs more time. So this is an article that came out in Polygon this week. So let's read through this here. So Microsoft is delaying the release of Crackdown 3 from November 7th, 2017 to spring of 2018. The company confirmed to Polygon today. That's a pretty significant delay, right, for a game that was scheduled to come out in a couple months. It has now been delayed roughly 6 months into the spring of 2018. So Shannon Loftus, Microsoft Studios publishing general manager, said the company is delaying the Xbox One and the Windows PC game to give development teams Reagent Games, Sumo Digital, and CloudGen extra time to ensure a quality experience. So I didn't realize that there was 3 developers working on this game.
Yep.
So they've all got some extra time now.
Yeah. So from my understanding of it, Sumo Digital is handling the single player.
Okay.
And Reagent and CloudGen are handling the multiplayer.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Reagent is the ones that everybody hates that made Crackdown 2, and
I believe they were involved in some way. Weren't they? Were they the ones working on that APB game?
Yep,
as well?
that was them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think they've got some history there with this franchise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, I think Reagent Games, a lot of those employees are from Real-Time Studios or Real-Time something.
Real-Time Worlds.
Yeah, the ones that made the first Crackdown game. It's a lot of the same people, so... And I believe the other studio, CloudGen, that's David Jones's thing. So that's how he's involved with the game.
Gotcha. Okay. So thank you for clearing that up, Frankie. Let's move on now. We're very excited about Crackdown 3. So this is Loftus. This is what she had to say to Polygon. And so are many fans. So it's a difficult call to move the release date. However, we want to make sure to deliver the right game with the right quality and at the right time. Crackdown 3 is a hugely ambitious game. We want to ensure we deliver the right experiences all the way through every part of the game, whether that's campaign, co-op, multiplayer, or our competitive multiplayer mode, Wrecking Zone. Getting the balance right between the 3 modes is important, and we are going to take the extra development time to ensure that. Gamers can expect Crackdown 3 in spring of 2018. End quote. Now, obviously, Crackdown 3 was originally announced back in E3 of 2014, which seems so far away at this point. It was at one point targeting a release in the second half of 2016. It's clearly a complex project, one that has evolved since its unveiling, and Crackdown fans have learned to be patient waiting for it to come out. So Loftus continues in her comments to Polygon here. Quote, Crackdown 3 is an incredibly ambitious project that pushes the technological envelope with immersive, true 4K gameplay, cloud computing, competitive multiplayer, and a sprawling and futuristic open world, Loftus said when asked about the challenges the development teams have faced over the years. The team has been working extremely hard to deliver a great experience for fans, and this extra time will help us do just that. She continued, what we showed at E3 was a preview of the game, and it is a great indicator of the level of mayhem and vertical platforming action you can expect from Crackdown 3. Among other items, we are taking the extra time to focus on the visual polish so gamers can feel completely immersed in a living world. We want them to really feel the larger-than-life enemies as they're exploring the expansive open world, combating crime, and collecting orbs. Then she goes on to say this further about the launch lineup of the Xbox One X. So when asked about how Crackdown's being missing in action was going to affect the launch of the Xbox One X, Shannon had this to say, quote, the Xbox One X launch lineup will be one of the greatest lineups of games ever available with a major new console release. Let's put our hyperbole cap on there. Not the first time we've heard the greatest Xbox lineup in history. This is literally a phrase that's thrown out every 3 months. Not only are there several new Xbox exclusives, such as Forza Motorsport 7, Cuphead, Super Lucky's Tale, and the console launch exclusive PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, there's an incredible list of titles coming this holiday, including Middle-earth: Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed Origins, Call of Duty World War II, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Destiny 2, and more, with many of these titles enhanced to play better on Xbox One X. With so many great exclusives and new games to play, Crackdown 3 would have shipped into an incredibly crowded market. I'm proud of the progress and dedication the Crackdown 3 team has shown, and their deep passion and love for this IP. We think it deserves the time we're giving it. We think our partners deserve the extra time to ensure we deliver the experience that Crackdown fans deserve. We hope they love it as much as we do, end quote. Franklin, a lot to dissect here. There's a lot that Shannon had to say here. Hop in here, man. Talk to me about this delay.
So, now walk me through this. I'm failing to kind of understand this. So, we got a release date 2 months ago at E3.
Mm-hmm.
2 months ago.
2 months ago.
You're telling me at that point that there was needing to delay the game 6 months, like that wasn't a factor then. Somebody had to know at E3, like, dude, there's no fucking way this game is shipping in November.
Especially if you watched like the Comic-Con video. That was a terrible showing for that game.
Yeah, and that's the other weird thing is like even the stuff we got at E3, we just got like a really brief trailer. We didn't even know we were watching single player content until after the fact, and they're talking about what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, like every time we have seen this game in some form, it's just been a complete disaster. Like you had the stuff at E3, and then you had this Comic-Con thing where you're bringing in these celebrities who have no idea what they're doing, what they're playing, anything. I mean, like. This is a game that when it was announced, Phil Spencer was super proud of this. He's like, I told you it was coming back. Like he was jazzed that Crackdown 3 was coming. And I haven't seen a damn thing about this game that has like led me to believe like, yeah, that game's slowly going to ship this year. It's going to be really great shipping this year. Nothing. Like we haven't seen any significant footage of the game. Nothing that's like really looked that great. And granted, look, it does look better than Crackdown 1 and 2, but it's still like watching that game in action. Like there's stuff to be concerned about. Now, that being said, like I personally I think Crackdown 3 looks fine. I actually like the visual style. They have like this visual novel aesthetic they're going for, and I really like that. But I've never played a Crackdown game. I don't really know a lot about them outside of them being kind of these boss rush type of games where you're just destroying stuff, causing lots of chaos, and fighting enemy factions and stuff like that. So I don't know, but like this is the game that was launching on Xbox this year that I was excited about. Like this was the fallback after they canceled Scalebound. So that again brings up more concerns. Like we saw this a similar situation happen with Scalebound, where the game got delayed into the next year, and then like 2 days into the new year, hey, by the way, that game's canceled. Like, are we looking at that possibility with this?
Man, there's no way they can do that, right? I mean, with everything, with all the talk about Scalebound and all the talk about Fable Legends and even the game that who is now the Coalition, the game they originally were working on as Black Tusk Studios. That game was canceled and they moved them on to Gears of War. Like with all of the talk about all of the games that have been coming through the pipeline and have been either shuttered or canceled, or something like Cuphead that's taken forever to come out, there's no way they can cancel Crackdown 3, right? There's just no way. Even if the game is just a complete and utter train wreck, they have to release this game, right?
I would honestly say they're going to cancel it. At this point, they cannot release that game as just an absolute shit fest. It has to. Even before they're talking about doing a staggered release, you're going to get in the single player and the multiplayer stuff later down the road. Like at this point, you have to launch all that stuff together. Like you cannot stagger any releases. Like this we're not going to be almost 5 years removed from an actual announcement of the game by the time it comes out. Like at this point, you cannot stagger anything. When Crackdown 3 comes out, it has to be the complete version of the game. It can't be a technical disaster. Like delaying this game the way they are right now, they're putting a lot more pressure on themselves. With this release, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, like this kind of became my all right. Well, I'm not getting Crackdown this year. Like we got Tacoma, which is amazing. I love that game. I'm still excited about Cuphead, but. Like Crackdown 3 was going to be my December game that, I don't have a lot of time to play games in December. And Crackdown 3 single player is said to be around 3 to 4 hours. So I was like, that's perfect. I can get to that in December. It'll be fun. It looks like a just dumb fun game. So, but I don't know, man. Coming out in spring, like I don't know. Like there's a lot of stuff coming out next year that I've got my eye on. So that's already probably going to be a busy time. And especially if it's anything like this year, like holy shit, like this spring was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that could be even more dangerous territory for that game at this point.
Is Crackdown 3 really only supposed to be 3 to 4 hours in the campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow. That's not good. It has to be. It has to be longer than that.
It's not what I've heard, but
wow.
The other interesting thing about this is I feel bad for Sumo Digital. I feel like they have their hands in this and they have their hands in Dead Island 2.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to come out either.
Who knows? Who knows at this point?
That's a rough couple games for them, though.
I mean, this has to be a result of the Comic-Con showing, right? Like, what's happening right now? I mean, seriously, just looked terrible. Like, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking when they put that out. Like, did they really think that people were going to watch that and be like, yeah, this looks great, man?
Yeah, I mean, like especially like I think you mentioned this before, but like Major Nelson's there talking about the physics are realistic. And then you have like these cars all stacking on top of each other driving down the street.
Literally my favorite part of that video. I mean, it couldn't have played out any more perfect. Major Nelson sitting there talking about the realistic physics in the game world as 3 cars stacked on top of each other drive down the street past your character. I mean, it literally couldn't have been any better.
The guy playing was like, what's this? What's going on? Pull over. We need to talk about this.
Man. Yeah, just visually, just gameplay. I mean, it just was not a good showing for that game.
So
Bender.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, partially not surprised, but still, like, why the hell did you give it a date in the first place? Like, there's no way that they didn't know.
And this game's been grossly miscalculated from the beginning. Like, we were supposed to have a multiplayer beta back in summer of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That got delayed. That got pushed. We still haven't seen that to this very day. I think they've altogether canceled that idea now, and they're just gonna release the game when they release the game. But I was a little confused too when they initially were talking about this, and Shannon was tweeting out, and she specifically broke up the different sections of the game. like she mentioned, like the campaign and the co-op and the wrecking zone were going to be finished in spring of 2018. So at that point, I was like, well, wait, I didn't realize that wrecking zone was the multiplayer mode. At that point, they didn't specify that. So if anybody else was wondering, the entire game has been delayed until spring of 2018. So this will no longer, not that this was the plan anymore, but there will not be a staggered release for the different portions of this game. Bender, let me get your thoughts on what's going on with Crackdown here, man. Your thoughts on its delay, concerns, anything. Talk to me.
It's pretty crazy. I don't think they'll cancel the game, but it definitely doesn't bode well for the state of the game for them to, as long as they've worked on it and, like you guys were saying, I don't know why they would even announce a release date. They must have known that they weren't going to hit it. But yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, and hopefully the game still turns out to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a weird situation.
Yeah. Do you have any interest in this game? Like you like me like superhero games and stuff along those lines. This seems like this could fill a similar void to something like an Infamous would in your game catalog. Do you have any interest in this game, either in its current form or in just its general idea?
Yeah, I kind of do. The more I've seen of it, I mean, I don't mind the art style. I know a lot of people are complaining about it. I think it looks fine. But yeah, it seems like an interesting game. Lots of explosions and stuff going on. So it seems like it's something that could be a good time.
Yeah. Now, Franklin, what does this do for the release of the Xbox One X, if anything? I mean, was this game going to move units of that console? I mean, from what we've seen in the past, I highly doubt it. This doesn't look like it's pushing the system in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know that people were looking to this as like a showpiece game that they had to have with the Xbox One X. But I don't know. Am I off base there? Does this do anything for the launch of the system?
No, I think more it was kind of there as something to pick up with the system, so you have a new game to pick up with it. Obviously, that just now kind of leads you with Super Lucky's Tale, which again, that game looks pretty cool. But that's $30. That seems a bit steep for me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've talked to a couple people, and the delay of this has kind of slightly affected the excitement hype train for the One X a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I still see people like, nah, like Forza 7 is going to be the showpiece game to pick up with this and show off what the system can do, which it is. Like, racing games are an awesome, visual benchmark to show what a system can do. So I think Forza, more than anything, was that game. Like you said, Crackdown, just not really a looker. But even still, it sucks. Like, if you were going to be picking up the system and you were looking forward to picking up a game with it, I mean, now, I guess if you haven't picked up the new Call of Duty or, Wolfenstein or other stuff like that, I know Wolfenstein and Evil Within both concerned to have X support also launching around that time. So, hey, I actually, I'm canceling my Crackdown pre-order and probably going to pick up Evil Within 2 instead this year, just because it seems silly to leave that pre-order. It's already paid off, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Just very, very strange circumstances with Crackdown 3. Because like we talked about, just everything we've seen in this game, it looks in no way, shape, or form like it was ready for prime time, just a few short months from now. So, yeah, hopefully they're able to get it together. But I don't know. It's just it's like you said, man, moving the game to next spring. I just have a feeling that spring is going to be loaded as well. Just some of the games that are potentially coming out in that time period, from stuff like Red Dead Redemption to, Far Cry is going to be out at that time. God of War possibly, Spider-Man possibly. These are all games we could see in that time frame. So, we'll have to see if this ends up being a better time for Crackdown 3 or not. But I don't know.
I'd also totally feeling about we're gonna get our first big Destiny expansion around that time.
Oh yeah, I think that's a safe bet as well. And I think you kind of alluded to this, but how many more copies of Crackdown 3 would have sold had the game launched alongside the Xbox One X, and people are going to the store to pick up their new console. They see this brand new, shiny Microsoft exclusive game like sitting next to the system. How many more impulse purchases would they have got on this game from people just going to the store and picking up the console that they're not going to get now with the game releasing in the springtime? And now they're going to have to work that much harder to show people why they need to pick up this game. So
I wonder too if we see Deep Silver kind of maybe playing this too, because Agents of Mayhem is a game in a similar vein of Crackdown.
Mhm.
So I wonder if at any point they kind of capitalize, like, hey, you're looking for your fix of just absolute absolute chaos, open world
Yeah.
game. Give us a spin. I think they've kind of opened the door for that too.
I could see them doing something crazy, like they released a DLC expansion at that time called Crack Up or something like that, and people go out and buy it. That sounds like something crazy they would do.
Yeah, Ass Crackdown or something.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Perfect. So we shall see what the future holds for Crackdown 3, but man, it is very concerning right now for that game and its future, where we go from here. Hopefully they can get it all together and the game ends up turning out great.
I hope for that game's sake it does not, we don't get like God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead, like all these other big games that are aiming for the spring. They don't release around this game, because otherwise I'm not going to play it.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of work to do now. Its first impression has not been positive. And, dude, we talked about this during E3. Like, I was a little bit concerned with the way they unveiled this at E3, how they just, they showed us the Terry Crews clip and then showed us, like a sizzle reel, and then that was it. They just moved on from it. They didn't really spend any significant time on this game. That was a red flag for me. And then seeing the Comic-Con footage just in the rough shape that it was, that's another red flag. And this is obviously 3 strikes here with the delay. So they've got a lot of work to do with Crackdown. Hopefully they can get it under wraps. And the visual style, it may not push the Xbox One X to its brink, but it can look good if it's handled correctly. It's just right now it just doesn't look good. So they've got to really try and shore that up. All right, so let's move on from Crackdown 3. We've got some other Xbox news to talk about here, so let's hop into the rest of that. So Xbox has some type of, can we call this a conference? What can we expect from this? I'm picturing 2 people sitting down on a couch in front of a TV, like kind of like an Xbox Live thing. Like they're calling it Xbox at Gamescom Live. It looks like it's going 12 p.m. Pacific, so 3 p.m. Eastern. This will go live. It's going to be hosted by Graham Boyd, Xbox Germany's Maxi Graf, and Julia Hardy. So we've got 3 people. I'm almost certain they're going to be sitting on a couch, sitting around a TV, talking about games and maybe showing a couple things here and there. What do you think, Frankie?
It's about all I'm expecting.
Like we're not going to get like an actual conference, right? If this was a conference, we'd see Phil or somebody, right?
Yeah. I think like the big thing they're hyping is they're going to be announcing pre-orders for the One X.
Yeah.
That's really the big talking point I've seen. Obviously, there's been some other stuff that's leaked, but I think we're going to get a couple, maybe a couple game trailers, briefly talk about the games. I don't see this being anything huge.
Yeah. So we've got the Live at Xbox thing, whatever that's going to entail, on 12 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. They've got an Age of Empires live event planned for Monday, also at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So they've announced Age of Empires Definitive Edition. So we'll expect to see more of that for Windows 10.
It's a strategy game, right?
Yeah. A very well loved strategy game. It's old now. I mean, it's games from.
I swear I've played one of these.
The 90s, I believe.
Yeah.
There's been several of them. There was Age of Empires, Age of Empires 2. There were several expansions from them. They also did Age of Mythology, where they took kind of the Greek gods and put them into an Age of Empires type of situation. So yeah, there's lots of those throughout the years.
That's, you said Windows 10, so probably not Xbox One.
Not Xbox right now, unless they decide to announce for it. But that's probably going to remain a Windows 10 only title or a PC only title, I would assume, just because it's so strategy driven. It's kind of like Civilization in that respect. It's a game that's just hard to bring over to consoles.
Supposedly they're going to be announcing mouse and keyboard support for the Xbox One. So that's what I was wondering if.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they do that, so not currently mouse and keyboard support on there.
Right.
Okay. They have that on the PS4, right? You can do mouse and keyboard.
I think so.
Yeah, for some games. I know on Final Fantasy 14 you can use mouse and keyboard.
Gotcha.
PS4.
So yeah, maybe if they do announce mouse and keyboard, maybe that's a surprise announcement. They're like, hey, maybe there'll be some type of a package or something with Age of Empires and a mouse and keyboard that you can get for your Xbox One X. I could see them doing something like that.
That's cool.
Especially as they try to just continuously integrate Xbox and Windows 10 together more and more. I think that would be a solid move to get people in that way. So that's what you can expect from Xbox at Gamescom. Like you mentioned, Frankie, the pre-order details for the Xbox One X will be unveiled at that time. So, we can be on the lookout for that. Also,
did you see that Project Scorpio leak?
Yeah, I was just about to bring it up. There's there's these leaked images of this. What many people are assuming is some type of a limited, maybe day one or first run of the Xbox One X that has the Project Scorpio branding. So we see it on the console here. We see it on the controller. We've seen the box for it as well, which has the Project Scorpio branding on the box. So I was a little bit surprised when I saw this. It seemed like at E3 they were going with the Xbox One X, like that was the brand. But now they're bringing back the Project Scorpio part of it. So I don't know if this is just something maybe for the hardcore fans, if this is going to be a very limited edition, or if this is going to be something where people are going to go to the store and they're going to be like, "What the hell is Project Scorpio? And how does this factor into the Xbox One X?" What do you think about this, Franklin?
I mean, for the diehard Xbox fans that have been, clamoring for this thing since it was announced, I think it's a cool thing for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, like the general, public who, wasn't that informed about it or didn't, completely forgot what Project Scorpio was because they picked up a 1S, I think like that audience isn't going to care if, you go to pick up the game and your store associate's like, "Oh, we'll do a Project Scorpio edition." They're just going to be like, "I don't care. I just want the damn system."
Yeah. Yeah. Bender, do you think we could see any like a brand confusion or any consumer confusion with this Project Scorpio business here?
Probably not. I mean, does it still say Xbox One X on the box, or is it just say Project Scorpio?
I assume it does. I saw a picture of the box. It's not in this article we're looking at right now, but I believe it said Xbox One X on the side.
Yeah, and it just has like a green Project Scorpio edition branding on it.
I don't think it'll be too confusing. As long as it still says Xbox on it, the general public will know what it is. But like Frankie said, I think that'd be something that's more for like the diehard fans who have been following that news about that project. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be too bad.
What do you think about the look of it here that we see? Do you like this kind of sleek black with the Project Scorpio branding on it?
I actually haven't seen it yet.
God damn it, Bender.
It's really not that. It's not like an entire redesign or anything. It looks like they just slapped a decal over it.
Yeah.
And then the branding on the controller kind of harkens back to like the day one edition controller. So, it's just branded on the controller. I don't know. Like I said, it looks like it's something kind of cool for the diehards, but I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me, so.
Do you think there's going to be anything else as part of the Project Scorpio package, or is it just going to be Project Scorpio on the box? Do you think there'll be like a bigger hard drive or anything like that with it? Nah, just simple branding.
Yep.
Cool. Now, also leaked this week, so I assume we can expect to see the Project Scorpio branding. We'll assume that's part of the pre-order rollout. We'll assume that we'll see that at Gamescom. We also assume that we'll see the Record Definitive Edition officially announced. It's essentially been outed by a Microsoft Store listing ahead of time here. It's listed for $19.99, has an August 29th release date, so this will fall in nicely with their Gamescom event, whatever the hell you want to call it, Xbox at Gamescom. It'll fall in nicely with that. It'll give them time to announce it, and then it'll be out a week later. So on August 29th release date, the ReCore Definitive Edition will feature HDR support and offer enhanced visuals on the Xbox One X when the upcoming system is released later this year. This according to IGN. The new edition of the Concept and Armature Studio-produced action game will feature a new, quote, Eye of Obsidian adventure, as well as the 5th Corebot frame, T8NK, a Corebot featured on the original game's box art, but has yet to be made available in the base game. Frankie, what do you make of this? So we got the definitive edition of ReCore. By many people's accounts, this game was unfinished when it came out.
Yeah.
In fact, Brent was damn near to the end of the game, and he just gave up because it was kind of a disaster at the end of the game there.
Yeah. So from my understanding, this new area it's already in the game. People on PC have uncovered it, and like this isn't like a brand new thing. Like it was already in the game. And look, ReCore obviously shipped unfinished, which is why it got critically panned the way that it did, because the back half of that game is a disaster. So definitive edition, it's the rest of the game. So it pisses me off because I pre-ordered this game. I was in day one. So I'm concerned because I think this should be a free update. I bought the game day one. I paid for all the content day one, and I don't have it all. So, like, that Corebot is even in the game. Like, there's a box in there for the last Corebot in the game. So, just like, again, like, this needs to come as a free update if you own ReCore. I'm going to be furious if they're like, oh, well, you can get all this for like $5-10 if you buy the upgrade for your for existing owners. Like, no, dude, like, I already paid you for the game. Give me the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I still haven't played ReCore just because, you know, upon hearing all this and hearing what a disaster like the back half of the game was, I wanted to wait. I was like, they made it very clear early on, like, hey, we're working on it. We're gonna release, you know, the last bot. We're gonna finish the game at some point. So please, feel like it got to be a free update.
Yeah. Your gut, what's it tell you? Does it tell you that this is going to be an Ori and the Blind Forest situation where they're going to charge extra for the definitive edition? Or do you think that with everything that's gone on with this game, that they have to just give you this as a free download?
Well, they're going to try to charge. I just have a gut feeling that's what's going to happen.
Man, that just seems, for this particular game, that just seems like that's just really if that ends up being the case.
I felt Ori was really shitty too. Like,
yeah.
Not only, I think it was cheaper than when the game had initially launched, but then to be like, oh, well, give us $5 and you can have all the extras. Like, anybody who buys this game now is not only getting it for less, but they're getting all this stuff for the same, for essentially what I had paid a year ago. So, like, and granted, like this edition's only $20, but still, I mean, like I said, I've already spent $40 on this game. So,
original game was $40, right? So $40. So they're coming out with I mean, it's a good price point to try and get people jazzed about the game again, and maybe to get them to pick it up with their Xbox One X. But yeah, for the people that already have this game, I hope to hell that it's a free download for them, because like you said, there's been a lot of issues with the game, especially in the back half, that hopefully this definitive edition answers. Bender, hop in here, man. Your thoughts on ReCore, the definitive edition?
I agree with Frankie. I really hope it is a free download. If it is an Ori and the Blind Forest situation and you do have to pay for it, I'll be extra mad if it is like Ori, where you pay for the definitive edition, you download it, but it doesn't upgrade the game you already have. It downloads a separate version of the game that has all the extra content, and it doesn't carry your save file over. So you have to start a whole new game to play the game again with the extra content. That's what you had to do with Ori, and I was so mad.
That's
hopefully
terrible.
They don't do that. Yeah, hopefully they don't do that with this one. But I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see.
That's been an issue with some of these like Game of the Year editions. Like I've gone ahead and Shadow of Mordor springs to mind. Like they had a Game of the Year edition. It was super cheap. So I'm like, look, I never bought the season pass. I'm just gonna hop in here. I might as well just buy the Game of the Year edition. Then I have a digital copy of the game and I have all the DLC for it. But the Game of the Year edition is a separate damn file. It's a separate game. So it has its own stuff, and the save file doesn't carry over.
Its own trophy list too.
Its own trophy list.
If you stupidly start playing that one, you now have Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year edition on your trophy list.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy.
That does. I hate that stuff. I mean, it's cool to have 2 trophy lists, but at the end of the day, I'd rather just have it be the same game so that I can do stuff like I can, get a digital copy of a game that I really like and get all the DLC for it and just play off my save file. Yeah, man, that sucks. Hopefully, especially like for this game, for this particular situation, like I really hope that this is an add-on. It's something that you can add on to your existing game, and it's something that is not a separate file, because it's really gonna suck if that's not the case for all you guys that already have the game and are in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on from there, let's talk some Crash Bandicoot once again. The Crash Bandicoot remaster has once again shown up on a retailer page for the Xbox One. Frankie, we've seen this December 8th date. It's been floated around in multiple retailer leaks, quote unquote leaks. We don't know if this is the case or if this thing's actually real at this point. It showed up on base.com. It's showing up on all these sites I've never heard of before, so I don't know if that lends credence to this or not. But are we getting to the point where there's smoke, there's fire with this thing?
I think so, just because there have been a couple handfuls of retailers that have listed this thing now.
Yeah.
I know one of them was a French site that's actually been pretty like they've done this before, and what they've listed has actually come out. So I would expect, like I said before, I think Crash Bandicoot's going to come to Xbox at some point. It's definitely in Activision, and I think the franchise's best interest to let it come to more players.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like we've seen like the massive sales success of this game, so if they can replicate that over on Xbox as well, and show there is clearly a hunger for a new Crash Bandicoot game, then I think if this does come there, it does do well.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see another Crash game, proper Crash game.
I like it. Bender, is it a foregone conclusion at this point that Crash is coming to Xbox One, you think?
I really think it is, yeah. And that's a good thing. I mean, get it out to more people, let them check it out. I'm sure a lot of the hardcore Xbox fans have never played a Crash game before, so I think that'd be cool. Maybe it'll come to Switch at some point too. Probably not though.
It would be at home on the Switch, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'd be a great game to have on the go. So yeah, it's I think it's a good thing if it does come to Xbox.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Crash trilogy and the Spyro trilogy aren't playable on the Vita, or they are, but there's like ways you have.
Yeah, they're not natively. Like, you can't download them right to the Vita. You have to pick them up through the PS3, I think, in order to get them on there. I think you're correct on that. So
it'll be appealing on the Switch.
There you go. That's a beard stroker for sure. So we shall see. But yeah, it's getting closer and closer to a reality that Crash is going to be Xbox One bound. A couple other Xbox notes here, and then we'll take a break. So we've got the new Xbox controller adapter. This was originally slated to release this month. It's now been delayed until 2018. This is the wireless adapter that allows you to use your Xbox One controller on a PC. So look out for that sometime. I believe it's in January now. How about this? The North American version of Conan Exiles. It's adding underwear to nude characters. So Bender, I know this is a downer for you. You were looking forward to all of the lower half genitalia that this game had to offer, and you will now have that snatched from your clutches. Your thoughts on this, man? How disappointed are you? Yeah. No pun intended. Literally, that was well done, sir. So how devastated are you that underwear has been added to the bottom half of these people?
Darn,
man. I hope you're not too broken up about it. We'll try and continue on and do the rest of the show, but it's all right,
just
man.
rebel against the man and just take off your clothes now.
Okay.
And finally, in terms of the Xbox here, Shape of the World hits Xbox One in early 2018. The interesting thing about this game is it's developed by somebody who worked on Gears of War 4. This is his first like independent title, and this is literally the polar opposite of anything that Gears of War could ever be. This is like a like a happy-go-lucky, like walking simulator, essentially, in this very colorful, bright world where you're riding on dolphins or whales and exploring nature. Literally the polar opposite of Gears of War 4. So, if you are in the mood to walk around and explore some areas, check out Shape of the World in early 2018. All right, fellas, we are going to take a break now. We've got some new music from Ruel Ethan, so check that out, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. Thank you again to Ruel Ethan for providing the music for this show. He does the opening, does the closing, does the intermission music we just listened to. We can't thank you enough, man. Listeners love the music. We love the music. So really appreciate you doing that for the show. All right, fellas, let's move on with the news here. Next up, some sad news, although not some, this is basically stuff we already knew. Mass Effect Andromeda, officially done. So this is the quote from the Mass Effect website. This is an update from the studio. It reads as follows. Quote, since the release of Mass Effect Andromeda, we've worked hard to address feedback from our community. From improving animations to expanding customization options, we look to respond to your concerns and build on what you loved. With each patch, you let us know we were heading in the right direction, and we're grateful to everyone who joined us on this journey. We're proud of what we created, and we hope you enjoyed it as well. Early in development, we decided to focus Mass Effect Andromeda's story on the Pathfinder, the exploration of the Andromeda Galaxy, and the conflict with the Archon. The game was designed to further expand on the Pathfinder's journey through this new galaxy with story-based Apex multiplayer missions, and we will continue to tell stories in the Andromeda Galaxy through our upcoming comics and novels, including the fate of the Quarry and Ark. Our last update, 1.10, was the final update for Mass Effect Andromeda. There are no planned future patches for single-player or in-game story content. In the coming weeks, our multiplayer team will provide details of their ongoing support and upcoming content, including new multiplayer missions, character kits, and what's in store for N7 Day, November 7th, obviously. We appreciate all the millions of people who came with us to the Andromeda Galaxy. We hope to see you again in the Mass Effect universe. Signed, the Mass Effect Andromeda team. So, now, Bender, we've heard this. We've heard the report from Kotaku a few weeks ago that there was not going to be any single-player content for this game. It has now come to fruition here. They do say that there's still some ongoing multiplayer support in the cards here, though, and which is interesting. What do you make of all this?
It's not surprising. We just kind of already saw this coming. It's a shame, though. It's ashamed to see a beloved series fizzle out like this one did.
Mhm.
And hopefully someday in the future we'll see Mass Effect return in some form, and maybe it'll be, have a resurrection at some point. But for now, I guess we'll just have to move on to other things and look forward to Anthem and other stuff, the other cool stuff that might come out. So yeah, it's too bad, but I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
I mean, at this point, Bender, if we see Mass Effect again, it's not going to be for a very long time, right?
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be years before it returns, but they have to get the Andromeda stink off of it and
Yeah.
give it some time to air out, and before they'll bring it back. But I'm sure it'll come back in some form at some point in the future.
Mhm.
It's just not going to be anytime soon. I'm sure it'll be years.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way we see this. We don't see Mass Effect again this generation for sure. Who knows if we see it next generation either. I guess it kind of depends on what BioWare does from here and how Anthem is received, and I think that'll kind of determine where they go with Mass Effect. Franklin, what do you make of all this, man? How robust do you think this multiplayer support is going to be? They mention story multiplayer packs, or what do they call these? Story-based Apex multiplayer missions.
Apex, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not really like deep story things. It's just kind of like I think like Far Cry 2, or not Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3's co-op missions. They're kind of these little like mini self-contained stories that aren't really tied to the main story at all. That's kind of what these Apex missions are. But I don't know. I mean, they've all been free updates, so I can't imagine they're going to be selling expansion packs for the multiplayer. I know they have like microtransactions for the currency for online stuff, so maybe that's doing well. I assume people are playing a lot of that because it seems like matchmaking for that gets in pretty quickly. So people seem to be hanging around for that aspect of the game, and obviously if that's what they're going to continue to support, I mean obviously they see the numbers, they see the active users, so there's probably something to that. And just another quick thing I wanted to note was the NPD list came out, and Mass Effect Andromeda is actually the 7th best-selling game in the U.S. this year.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I can't imagine like this is a decision based on sales. It has to be completely based on the reception to the game.
Also, too, I think it, even though it's the 7th best-selling game of the year, this was a game with a protracted development cycle. It was a game that went on a lot longer than I think they anticipated it was going to go on. So as we got into 5-6 years of development on this game, I'm sure the budget ballooned out of control. And even though it seems like being the 7th best-selling game would be a pretty successful game when all is said and done, for Mass Effect, it's not good enough. And specifically for this game, I feel like maybe the budget had gotten out of control and it wasn't good enough for what this game ended up costing them. Could be wrong on that, but that's just a hunch I have.
Could be
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. All right. So Mass Effect, we bid you adieu, and we'll see what the multiplayer future holds for you. And
you don't think they're ever going to remaster the trilogy, do you? Like that's probably completely off the table now too.
I think for now, yeah. I do think it is something that for the future they could look at. Like if they want to bring Mass Effect back, maybe they put this taste back in people's mouths. Like, hey, this is what Mass Effect is capable of. This is the part of the Mass Effect universe that everybody loved. And go out and play this again. So maybe they release that if they want to get back into Mass Effect in the future. But I don't think anytime soon we see it. I think if they do that, there would be another Mass Effect in the cards.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I maintain I haven't played Andromeda's multiplayer, but man, Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was awesome. Spent hundreds of hours in that. We've beat that to death on the podcast here. Taz has put upwards of 700-800 hours into the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. And I still say the fact that he doesn't talk about this game, doesn't say anything about it, doesn't ask me to play multiplayer with him, like that just shows how this game has resonated with hardcore Mass Effect fans.
I gather he's putting a lot of time into that game. I say that because I actually compared trophies with him on it, and he's got some of the more time committed trophies.
Oh,
So
really?
like he has like the kill 2,000 enemies one,
Huh.
which seems like it's going to take a long time to get. But I think he's actually probably playing a lot of the Apex stuff.
Really?
Probably just not talking as much about it. Well, I mean, like I've said before, like I don't think the main story itself is like something people are going to write home about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's as interesting as the stories that were told in the trilogy. But I think the multiplayer is probably still pretty on point. He's just, I don't know. He might feel maybe he feels bad having to pick up the game for that. I don't know.
He probably did all that early in the game's release too, because I actually talked to him the other day, and he hasn't played any games recently. He was telling me so. So he probably did all that when the game first came out, and just kind of fizzled out from there. But don't know for sure. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that though. I probably should hop in there and play the multiplayer at some point. It's probably very similar to Mass Effect 3. So
If you guys do, let me know. I'll hop in.
Yeah.
I'll reinstall it and play some multiplayer.
I still have not tried the multiplayer in Andromeda, so yeah, I'd be willing to check it out too.
Yeah, we should do a co-op stream one night with that. It is because it was really fun in Mass Effect 3. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on from there, we've got some We Happy Confusion. You like that? It took me a long time to come up with that, so I'm glad you guys liked it. So here's the deal. So last week, Frankie, you alluded to this during the new release section, but last week we had what we thought was the final release of We Happy Few, right? The price was going up in its early access state. There was, talk of this final update. I wanna read the specific paragraph from the update. So, this is what Compulsion Games put out last week prior to the show. So this is what we based our new release list on and the update for the game. So they said, they're talking about the game, and they said, quote, "But today we wanted to give you a heads up on some important information. Since we launched our Kickstarter and released the game on early access, We Happy Few has been priced at US $29.99. We have never put it on sale because we believe it isn't fair for someone to get the game at a lower price than a Kickstarter backer or an early access backer while the game is still in development. Since 2015, we have made clear that the price would increase as we approach and I wanna bold this here, as we approach the final release. And that time has finally come." All right, so I'm going to read this sentence again. "Since 2015, we have made clear that the price would increase as we approach the final release, and that time has finally come. On August 16th, the price for the game will become $50.99. We will explain everything in more detail on the 16th. As you can imagine, there is more to the story, and we are looking forward to sharing all the juicy details with you. We always do our best to be transparent with you guys, so we felt it was important to provide this pricing information with ample time for you to make a decision. And just to be clear, if you are a Kickstarter backer or early access player, this change does not affect you." Okay, so this was the last update that we got for the game. So that led us to last week. We're like, all right, cool. This is the 1.0. This is the final release of We Happy Few. Not happening. This game is going to be in early access until April 13th of 2018. So not only is it not happening anytime soon, but we were just way off. This game is still 7-8 months away from being a finished product. So in the midst... Go ahead, Frankie. You were going to say something?
Funny. Yeah, so I guess Xbox actually sent the price update live a day early.
Oh, really?
So they then had to go in and try to correct it. Hey, this isn't supposed to go into effect until Wednesday. So on Tuesday, the price had already hiked up. So if you, I don't know if they got it rectified or not, but people may have lost a day on the price hike.
Gotcha. So that's unfortunate. So yeah. So not only is We Happy Few still in early access until April 13th of 2018, but now it's coming to PS4 as well. So this was really strange. So on the day that this final update went live, all of this marketing went out for We Happy Few. So now they're partnered up with Gearbox, who's going to publish the game and who's going to, I guess, contribute to expanding the scope of this title. Let me find exactly what Gearbox has to say about this. But they've expanded the title to basically have What is it? 3 separate characters now. So here's the quote here from Compulsion Games on scope increase. So quote, so the first thing on many people's minds is, holy crap, $60. Yep, $60. We Happy Few wasn't built like other games. It didn't start as a big game. It started very, very small. We went to PAX East in 2015 after roughly a year of development, what you'd probably call pre-production, with a procedurally generated village of Hamlin, a skeletal universe, and some basic mechanics to introduce the idea of what social conformity was all about. At the time, the game was basically a roguelite, a procedural, systemic game intended to be highly replayable. It also had a story, which was intended to be optional and just provide a little bit of extra flavor to the world. Think of FTL's story. That's Faster Than Light, for those of you not in the know. Except with a few small cutscenes and 3 characters who would have different perspectives on events. So we went to PAX with this tiny little thing, and frankly what happened wasn't what we expected. While people were excited about the procedural world, no one had ever done procedural urban areas like that, and the gameplay, they were blown away by the atmosphere of the world and the possibility of the stories that could be told, which is basically what all of us were excited about. So I'm not sure how they missed the boat on that. So roughly a year into development, we had a decision to make. Do we respond to feedback, increase the scope of the game, and grow our team to build the game that we thought people wanted, or do we keep it small? In the end, we chose to see what you guys thought. That was the purpose of the Kickstarter in 2015. We felt that if we were successful with the Kickstarter, then we had something that we could find investment for and build into a game that had the story and experience that you wanted. After being successful on Kickstarter and signing on to Microsoft's ID at Xbox program around the time of E3 2015, we knuckled down and began the hard work of planning and building this game. So fast forward to early 2016. I don't want to read all this, but they were approached by Gearbox. I'll read this part here. They basically said to us, if we can make a game like that, then they thought we had a good shot at a retail game. We felt that in order to do that, we needed to reinvest and make the game bigger, as you can well imagine. So that is what we began working towards for almost a year. It's why instead of spending 6 to 12 months in early access, it's going to be closer to 20. The game we are now planning for 1.0 is a full-sized retail game. The stories of our 3 characters were rewritten, the quality of our encounters and world has been dramatically increased. That's what the Clockwork update was all about, refactoring to make sure we could begin to deliver on that increased quality. And the remnants of that little sandbox game at PAX 2015 were slowly overtaken by a much larger story-driven experience. So basically originally they were making a much smaller game. They weren't as focused on the story. But as we saw when the game was officially unveiled at, what was that, E3? 2016?
Yeah, last year.
Whatever it was, E3 2016. Like, people immediately grabbed onto the story and the story aspects of the game. So, even though they didn't realize that at first, they came to realize that, and that's what they were working towards, and that's what we saw when the game was unveiled to Microsoft, at Microsoft's press conference. So, when all is said and done, now we have a game that's had its final early access release. It's going to be in early access for the next 7-8 months. It's now coming to PS4. It's now a full-on retail game. It's going to be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's a $60 game. It's 15% off if you pre-ordered as well, so if you're interested, make sure you check that out. There's a collector's edition for the game as well, which is $150, which has a number of things in it. And then there's also a DLC season pass now. So lots of content coming to We Happy Few. Frankie, what do you make of all this, man? Help me sort through this. There was a lot of confusion with this announcement this past week. For the most part, I think we understand what's going on now. But what is your thought on all this?
Yeah, so I gotta say I was pretty annoyed. I actually rushed to re-download the game. I was actually excited. I was like, cool, the story stuff's gonna come in on Wednesday, and I'll finally get to play this game. And it's just like the complete like unwillingness on their part to like mention any of this not being in the game yet, because I had flat out asked them, like, so you say this is the final release we're getting for game preview, and like, you know, the story that we had last week was saying, you know, story elements would be coming in this update as well. So you know, like I'm point blank asking, like, so if I play this game now, is this essentially the same experience I'm going to have if I play it in April? That's what it sounds like to me. So they don't answer, but some other person was like, it sounds like the story stuff is going to come in April. which the only reason I know that that's accurate is because they liked it, like Compulsion Games liked it. Like, why couldn't you tell me that? Why can't you just be like, no, you're gonna want to, if you want to check out like the gameplay mechanics, play it now. If you're waiting for the story stuff, that's gonna come in April. That's all I had to say. So I played this game in early access like last year. Coming out of E3, obviously, like outside of Bender, like I've said, like I think all of us are really excited to see what this game is all about. Looked extremely interesting, really messed up. But like getting in there and like the actual gameplay itself, like I've never felt like completely deflated from like being super hyped about this game 2 days ago to playing the early access build, being like, what the hell is this even? So I don't know. The game, there's definitely something there in terms of like the story that they can tell, and obviously, from the trailer we saw last year at E3, they're going to be exploring some pretty dark stuff with the story. So I am very curious to see how it plays out, but it's just like at this point, like why? It just pisses me off that it was so confusing. Like 3 years ago, like, oh yeah, we're getting the whole game, but now it's like, yeah, it'll come next year with, as well as the PlayStation release, and now the game's $50, and it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it kind of opened up a whole new category for us too. So there's been a lot of talk about console release exclusive and console exclusive, and how the publishers can kind of twist these words to kind of make it make it fit their marketing materials or whatever. But We Happy Few is now a console exclusive early access launch. So when it officially comes out, it will be on it'll be on PS4 as well as Xbox One and PC. What do you make of that, Frankie? What do you make of this early access console launch exclusive?
This game for me is the poster child for why not to play games in game preview. This and the Culling, the only two games that I've actively played in game preview.
Yeah.
Game preview completely murders any like excitement that I have for games. So I'm pretty sure Battlegrounds is launching under the same umbrella. The game's in early access on PC, so it makes sense for it to launch on Xbox in early access. And I'm done. Like, I'm not playing outside of probably trying out Fable Fortune. I'm not touching any more game preview games. Like, that's just I don't like. I'm very much a first impression person. So that session of We Happy Few where I initially played the game, like I was completely turned off to even playing it past that point. Yeah. So, and I've avoided games because of that. Like Everspace is a game preview, and that's a game that I very much wanted to play. Still haven't picked it up. I know it's in full release now, but just stuff like that. Like if I have a bad time with the game, it's hard for me to forget that. So like the Culling, I am never going to play that. Even when that goes into full release, I'm not re-downloading it. I have no interest. So I don't know. Like it's a slippery slope because certain gamers, are going to jump into these games, and you're either going to enjoy them because you're a super fan and you're all about this game preview stuff, or you're going to enjoy them because you like the current build of the game and you are finding enjoyment in the core gameplay mechanics. Yeah. So, and I don't know. I mean, you're also going to have people like me who you play them and you just think the game's terrible and you never want to play it again. So, which a lot of these games, that's not fair. Like The Long Dark, for all intents and purposes, is an excellent game from what we've heard from people. And I know that one was also sitting in game preview for a while, which
for a really long time.
Yeah. So I don't know. And that's another problem I have too, is, like We Happy Few was initially supposed to be in early access for like a year, and now it's ballooned into, almost 2 years. So it doesn't seem like there's any regulations on, what qualifies a game to stay in game preview versus, final release or anything like that. So I don't know. It's all kind of a gray area that I don't like dabbling with.
Yeah. I've voiced my concerns with early access in the past as well, and it's one of those things. I don't know if it's just because I'm not a PC gamer and I just don't get it. Maybe this is more of just a PC concept that doesn't translate well to console gamers. But yeah, I just feel like early access is just ruining games for some people, and it just, for some games, it really just deflates the whole like excitement about the game. Because if you've got a game that's been in early access for 2 years and then the game finally comes out, it's not like an exciting release anymore. It's like, okay, I've been playing this game for 2 years now. Like, why am I supposed to be excited about the official release of it? So it's just like it takes a lot of the excitement about having a new game and even metaphorically just ripping the plastic off a new game and firing it up on your console and playing it for the first time. We're now playing games, unfinished games that are mid-development. We're providing feedback and helping developers make these games. It's just a strange concept that I personally haven't been able to wrap my head around, and I just don't know if it's just because it's just not a console thing or what. But I just I don't know.
Yeah, I have that concern as well around a game like Battlegrounds. You know, like it's a game that's very popular right now, but what happens when that game goes on a full release? Are people still going to be this passionate about the game? Are more people going to buy it, but all those original players are going to drop off? Because it sounds like the thing a lot of people really like about the game is there's a lot of really goofy bugs in it that people like messing around with, which I assume are going to get ironed out at some point. But like stuff like these multiplayer games, especially, like is that interest that's there now going to remain throughout the life of the game being in early access and game preview, or is it going to completely fizzle when that game goes into official release?
Yeah. I don't know. Bender, what are your thoughts on early access? I know you don't, you're not really into We Happy Few, but what do you think about this concept of early access? I know it's something we've talked about before, but where are you at on it currently?
I agree with Frankie. I think if I don't have a good first impression of a game, then I'm probably not going to want to go back to it. So I really don't like the idea of playing these games that are just not finished.
Yeah.
I'd rather just wait and just play a game when it's done and when it's all polished and ready to go, and then that way I get to experience the game the way the developers intended. I think it can definitely ruin the hype for a game to try to play it when it's in this unfinished state.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I think too, it's just that severe disconnect. You know, like watching that trailer for We Happy Few, like seeing what kind of setting your expectations for a game and then playing the game preview for whatever build it is. Like just that completely, it's like not even close to like what you were expecting.
It sounds like what the game preview version of the game was kind of their original vision for the game, where there was no story, but it was kind of this sandbox with survival elements, and that's kind of how it turned out. Yeah, and I know a lot of people were like, "What the hell is this? Like, this is not at all what I was trying to play here." When that game was shown, people were like, "Oh man, this is the next BioShock. This is the next like Dishonored type of game." Like that's the vibe that people were getting. And then when you play a game preview version of a game that's unfinished, doesn't have any of the story elements, is heavy on these like survival aspects, people were just completely caught off guard by that. So, but I tell you what though, the trailer they put out for the game, for like the final, like the whatever marketing trailer that they put out for this April 13th release was awesome. This trailer is fantastic. If you watch that, like that's an exciting game that I would want to play. Like this looks like you got these creepy 1960s like police officers in London who are hunting you down, and just it looks like a really, really interesting game. So if they can somehow tap into the potential of this game, and put together a BioShock type of a game with that kind of story and impact, then they could be on to something special here. But it sounds like they're going to have to refine some of the systems around that, because I don't know how that's going to play. Also, this game's procedurally generated, so I don't know if that's going to affect the way that they're able to tell the stories as well. So I'd be interested to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, I'm really going to be curious to see how like the story elements mesh with all that too. Just because like from what I played in the game preview, I don't fully grasp how you're going to be able to tell a story with that type of gameplay, like a compelling story, like it's sounding like they're going to be trying to tell with this. Yeah,
it almost seems like they're going to have to like completely reinvent what they were trying to do with the game in order to tell it, and I suppose that's a possibility. But I don't know. So We Happy Few, once again, just to summarize all this, April 13th, 2018, PS4, Xbox One, PC. Gearbox is now publishing the title. It will be coming to retail. Will be a full $59.99 retail release. There will be DLC for the game. There's a season pass that's going to be available to purchase. It doesn't sound like they really know exactly what the DLC is going to entail at this point, so kind of strange that there's a season pass available for that. The collector's edition of the game is $150, and I need to mention this too, it does not include the game. So if you are interested in buying the collector's edition, you will not get the game as part of it. which
Taking a page from the Nintendo book.
yeah, these are always really strange. Like we saw Wolfenstein do this with their collector's edition, but it's like when you put a
Yeah.
collector's edition out that doesn't include the game, that's just weird.
Yeah, Dead Space 3 did that too.
Really?
That's the only one of those I've ever bought that didn't include the game.
Yeah. So really strange with that, but hey, there's a lot of potential with We Happy Few. Hopefully they can tap into it because like I said, if you go and watch this launch trailer, this release trailer for the game, it's awesome. Like watching that, I'm like, man, this game looks sweet. If they can really tap into this idea and make something out of this, it could be really special. But I'll be curious to see how it all pans out. All right, moving on from We Happy Few, let's talk some Pinball Effects 3. So, Frankie, I was pretty excited this week when Zen Studios put out a blog post, and they went ahead and confirmed the table roster for Pinball Effects 3, and they detailed the cross-platform play as well. So, as anticipated, PlayStation Network and Steam will be cross-compatible, and then Xbox One, Windows 10, and Steam will be cross-platform compatible as well. So, you will have those people to play with on whatever platform you choose. Now, there were over 65 tables in Zen Pinball 2. A lot of those I was concerned about, man. I was like, man, are they going to be able to bring all the Marvel tables? Like, I know there's a lot of rights and things that go into those. There's a lot of licensed tables in Zen Pinball 2. But Franklin, for the most part, they have gone ahead and brought damn near every table over to Pinball Effects 3, which is awesome. The only tables that did not make the cut, South Park Pinball 2 table pack, the Street Fighter Pinball table, Ninja Gaiden Pinball table, Plants vs. Zombies Pinball table, and the Ms. Explosion Man Pinball table. Those are the only 5 tables that are not going to make the jump to Pinball Effects 3, at least at this point. I'm not sure if they can relicense those again in the future, but as of right now, those are the only 5 tables that are not making the cut, which means all of the Star Wars tables, all of the Marvel tables, and a plethora of other Zen Pinball tables that they've made over the years. The Family Guy tables, the Bob's Burger tables, the Aliens vs. Pinball tables, the Bethesda tables. Yeah. They're all making the transition over to Pinball Effects 3. So that's awesome, man. That's honestly a lot better than what I could have hoped for. They alluded to it when they talked about Pinball Effects 3 that it sounded like the majority of the tables were going to be able to make the cut, but to have over 65 tables in your game and only have 5 of them that can't make it over, that's pretty sweet, man. What do you think, Frankie?
Yeah, no, I was like you, really excited. I love a lot of those tables, Marvel ones especially. There's a lot of great tables in those various packs.
Yeah.
I really love the Fox, like the one that has Family Guy and American Dad, and all those tables are a blast.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Wars ones, I especially. What's the Disney show? I can never remember the name of.
Rebels.
Rebels, yes. Love that table pack too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of amazing tables in there. I especially hold the Fallout 4 table in high regard after I crushed Brent's high score. That was just a great moment for me. But
take that, Felsing.
On the flip side, though, the table's getting left out. I really enjoyed the Plants vs. Zombies table. It's one of the first tables I picked up on PS3.
A lot of people love that table, so I know that's a hard one for a lot of people.
Yeah. The Ninja Gaiden table is incredible. Very challenging table, much like the game. So
yeah, that's a hard ass table.
It really is. Yeah. So that one's. I'm sad to see that one go, and the South Park tables as well. I love. Of course, the flip side of this is I still have Pinball Effects or Zen Pinball 2 on my PS4, so it's not like I completely lose these tables. If I want to play them, I'll fire that up instead. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think they also announced like a Universal themed pack coming as well. So they're doing an ET table.
Yep.
So yeah, that's awesome.
ET, Back to the Future, and Jaws, all included in the Universal Classics Pinball. So yeah, sign me the hell up for that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Look, Zen Pinball is amazing. I love it. So I can't wait for this to come out. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, Bender, the Portal table, also making the transition over to Pinball Effects 3.
Nice.
What do you think about this one, man? You interested in this?
Yeah, for sure. I have several of those tables myself. I have all the Fox ones, the Family Guy and American Dad and all that, and I do have the South Park ones. It kind of sucks those aren't coming over, but still, and some of the Marvel ones as well. I have, but yeah, that's awesome. I think that's pretty cool that they're able to move all those over.
Mm-hmm. Have you played the Portal table?
I think I played a demo of it. It was pretty cool. I need to get that one too.
Can't do.
Gotcha.
It's a pretty good table.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. So I was happy with the Zen pinball news. When does this game come out, Frankie?
I don't think it has a date yet. So just
No date yet.
summer. So
cool.
Soon in the coming weeks.
Looking
We
forward
gotta
to
get
that.
close.
Yeah. It's gonna be sad that it won't be on the Vita. The Zen Pinball 2 is excellent on the Vita. But yeah,
Switch
glad-
version.
maybe. Is there a Switch version coming out?
I would assume that they put this on everything. So
Yeah, I think it's
But I don't know,
pretty safe bet.
because I think Zen Studios and Nintendo are. I don't know what's going on with Infinite Mini Golf, but that still hasn't resurfaced on the eShop yet.
Really?
Which I've been looking for.
That is strange. Yeah, they typically like to put their games out on everything possible though, so I think it's a good bet that they're gonna try to get this on, at least try to get it on the Switch at some point. I don't know if there's a problem because all of those tables that we just talked about weren't on
Yeah,
on a
that's a good
Nintendo
point.
platform, so they would have to either port all of those tables over or only the new tables that come out would be a part of the platform. Which obviously it loses a lot of its luster at that point. So, and there's got to be a lot of licensing issues with having Marvel and Star Wars and all the things that they have trying to get that onto another console may not be in the cards right now.
That's a good point.
But yeah, pinball is awesome on the go. On the Vita, it's going to be awesome on the Switch when they can eventually get something onto there. So, we'll see if they can get it done. All right, moving on from there. Let's get into the world of PlayStation, fellas. We'll start first. We've got some details on the system software 5.0. So the beta has been rolled out now. I didn't get an invite to the beta, so I'm not in it right now. But we now know some of the key features that are going to be a part of this update. Now, you guys talked about it a little bit last week on the show. Not a huge update, not a like an earth-shattering update when compared to some of the ones we've seen in the past with like the boost mode or the external hard drive support and some of the other cool things that we've got over the last few updates. But some useful features in here nonetheless. We've got family on PSN, which is interesting. This will overhaul the way the account systems work. So it's going to be easier to manage your kids and you're having other adults on a PSN account and whatnot. So you can head over to the PlayStation blog, get an idea of how some of this stuff's going to work. There's individualized parent controls now, so you'll be able to individually adjust different family members. So say you have a child that's 15, 16, maybe you put different ratings and things and restrictions on their account than you do on somebody who's like 7 or 8. So you'll be able to individually tackle them now. You'll have a new way to manage your friends list. So there's a favorite groups tab that's going to be added. A new custom list tab that you'll have on there as well. So you'll be able to, they said on here, for instance, you can create a custom list of your Destiny teammates and easily send them raid invites. So that's cool. Broadcast features that are being updated. Communities, you'll now be able to bind your community to your broadcast. So when a broadcast is linked to a community, the community button appears on the Live from PlayStation spectator screen. So if we're streaming a Destiny stream, we can actually attach our Destiny community to that live stream. People will be able to click on it and jump directly to our community page from there. PlayStation VR, they're adding new settings for that in terms of how you display messages to spectators and spectators' comments. If you have a PlayStation 4 Pro, you'll be able to stream Twitch at 1080p 60 frames now. So that's cool. You can already do that with YouTube. But it'll be good to do that on Switch, obviously a huge platform. There's some changes to the messaging system as well. You'll be able to send, multiple message groups at once. There's some notification updates, some quick menu updates, nothing too pressing there. Virtual surround sound on the PlayStation VR is being tinkered with as well, so you'll have support for 5.1 and 7.1 virtual surround sound on your headphones. There's some improvement to the tournament tracker, the bracket viewer, and some new languages are being added. So Czech, Greek, Hungarian, Indonesian, Romanian, Thai, and Vietnamese. So that's about all we know at this point. Like I said, I'm not in the beta. I don't know if any of you guys are in the beta, but I haven't seen anything else that's been alluded to with this. So Frankie, some quality of life changes to a few of the features on PSN, but nothing earth shattering here, right?
Yeah. The one cool thing that I saw in here was the quick menu will now display your downloads.
Oh, cool.
So that's like the thing about this that I'm pretty happy about. But yeah,
Yeah.
like we've said, it's kind of a not that exciting of an update compared to some of the past ones, but a lot of good quality of life improvements.
Yeah, I forgot about the download thing. That is really nice. Instead of having to go through like the 3 or 4 menus you have to go through right now to get to our
Yeah.
downloads. So that will be a nice change. Bender, anything stick out to you in this list of features?
I do like that the fact that if you're streaming like a PSVR game, then now you have a way of seeing the commenters' comments on there, in your headset, which is pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, like you said, nothing earth shattering. A lot of cool little tweaks, but yeah, nothing like really major.
Yeah, some stuff that's gonna improve the overall experience for everybody when all said and done, but nothing that to get like super excited about, like external hard drive support or anything like that. So moving on from there, PlayStation will have a media showcase during Paris Games Week. So this has been kind of an on and off thing for them over the last few years. Last year they didn't have a showcase at Paris Games Week. This year they will. It's coming October 30th. So the way the calendar is going to kind of work out for Sony here. We know there's Tokyo Game Show, which I believe is happening in September. That's when that typically happens. So mid to early September, we'll see the Tokyo Game Show. They'll have a conference there, which is focused on a lot of their Japanese titles and the Japanese audience. Then we'll see another showcase during Paris Games Week. So we don't know what they're going to talk about here, but it's going to happen on October 30th. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Paris time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific. So that'll be 12 noon here in the Eastern time zone, or 11 Bender Standard Time. And then obviously at the end of the year they'll have the PlayStation Experience. So we have that returns to to Anaheim December 9th. Capcom Cup will be featured here. Early bird tickets are available now for the PlayStation Experience. So if you hop in there, you can get an early bird deal, which is $65, and it'll get you access to the event early on Friday. So not only are the tickets discounted, but you get in an extra day on there as well. Obviously, the PlayStation Showcase will more than likely occur Saturday at 10 a.m. on December 9th there. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in attending. So just a couple of dates that you guys can keep in mind. Now, moving on from there, Yakuza 6, Frankie. It's got a release date. It's getting a collector's edition as well.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about this, dude. So the game is coming out March 20th.
Mm-hmm.
$89.99 gets you the collector's edition, which looks pretty snazzy. The After Hours Premium Edition.
Yep.
We saw a new trailer.
Glasses.
Couple drink glasses. We saw a new trailer for the game. It's got some a lot of ass kicking. Yeah. So talk to me about this game, man. Are you even going to play this game? You're not going to be. I imagine you're not going to be up to Yakuza 6 by the time this game comes out.
It's possible I will be. So, yeah, it was funny because actually I was up until like 3:30 the other night, and I was just on Twitter, and like this trailer just casually dropped in the middle of the night. Like, hey, here's the trailer. I was like, oh fuck yeah, like this game looks awesome. So, but yeah, like playing through Yakuza 0, like I love that game. So I'm really excited for Kiwami. So that being said, I have no easy, direct way to play Yakuza 2. So where I'm at right now, I have a physical copy of 3. 4 and 5 were PlayStation Plus games. I think I bought 5 when it came out anyway, so I already had that at that point. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to play through Kiwami, and then I'm targeting January. Jen's sister has offered to let me borrow her PS3, so at the beginning of next year, I'm going to make an attempt to, Brent will be happy to know I'm going to put off playing Fallout 4 for a while. But I'm going to try and play through 3 through 5 throughout January and February, so that by the time March 20th arrives, I will be up to speed on Yakuza for the most part. Obviously outside of Yakuza 2, but I'm going to make every effort possible to be caught up so that by the time Yakuza 6 comes out, I'm ready day one to hop in. I can't wait. I loved Zero so much, so I am hooked on that series. Like I thought it would be, like I could tell playing 5. I was like, this is a series I would really love. So, but yeah, man, I'm jazzed. Like you said, like this trailer, just a lot of ass kicking. The game looks great. It's running on the new Dragon engine, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good looking game. Looks much different than the other ones.
Yeah. So it's good to see like the combat and all that stuff is still gonna pretty much be the same, that you would come to expect in a Yakuza game. But like the thing that brings you those games is the story, and like this one just looks like it's gonna be intense and over the top, just like a lot of the other ones seem like they are. So yeah, I'm fucking excited.
Yeah.
Especially like they showed the collector's edition, because I think if you pre-order, there's like the one of those art book things. Yeah, so there's that one, and then they announced like this collector's edition. I was like, all right, I made a strict no collector's edition rule, but I don't care. I'm breaking it for Yakuza 6.
Yeah, it's a good looking collector's edition, man. I want to get my hands on that as well. I'm hoping it comes to Best Buy at some point, so I can pre-order it there and get a discount on it. That'd be nice. Yeah. Thanks Amazon for screwing us over on that.
Yep.
All right, so moving on from Yakuza there, we've got Dreams, Media Molecule, talking a little Dreams recently. They were speaking to Glixel. This is via WCCF Tech, though. So they've got a couple interesting comments here. So first of all, Glixel was asking Media Molecule about their relationship with Sony, and this is what they had to say. This is from Saban Reddy, the studio director of Media Molecule. Quote, We are a very proud studio. It's such a great company to be in. This is, once again, speaking to their relationship with Sony. From the beginning, they have held our hand. Sony people aren't here every day, but we have Shuhei visiting next week. We were just presenting with Sony in LA a couple of weeks ago. When you're a worldwide studios team, the deal is you have to make things that really help show off what PlayStation is all about. We work really hard to make sure we do that. All through the relationship, they've been really supportive of what we're doing. Shuei has been a really incredible supporter of Dreams and saw the potential of it right at the beginning. He's been a great advocate there. He really, really wants us to get it out to the community, and we're working very hard to do that. On the idea of Dreams in VR. So Brent, your prediction finally came true, buddy. Some 2 or 3 years after the fact, you're finally getting that E3 point, man. It's a good job, bud. So on the idea of VR, quote, it's amazing. Seeing people create in Dreams in VR is amazing, and being able to wander through those worlds is amazing. It's a total no-brainer for us to do that and to support it because it's just awesome. And that's why it was a total no-brainer for that to be Brent's prediction, right? It's just a total no-brainer. Every visitor that comes to our house wants to try VR. People who have no interest in games are like, let me see it, and then they're just blown away. So she finishes off by saying, Dreams is a space where you go to play and experience the dreams of Media Molecule and our community. It's also a space in which you create your own dreams, whether they're games, art, films, music, or anything in between and beyond. End quote. So Frankie, let me ask you about this, man. So I've been pretty concerned about Dreams over the months here. We saw what was an initial prototype for this game at the unveiling of the PlayStation 4 at the PlayStation meeting way back at the beginning of 2013. We've heard about betas and different things over the years for this game, and they've kept pushing it off. We haven't seen much of this game at all in the last few years. Media Molecule has been kind of toiling away in secrecy. So you hear them coming out. They're talking a little bit about this with Glixel. They're speaking about Dreams once again. Does this give you hope for the future of this game now? That either we see this soon, maybe as early as at Gamescom next week, or that maybe we're closer to seeing something from Dreams, or that even maybe this game is back on the right track now. What do you think when you hear about this?
Yeah, so I mean, the obvious conclusion, like you mentioned, was we all figured that this had to have made the jump to VR. Just because the times we have seen it, it's been very hard for them to kind of convey like what you're going to be doing in this game, what this game actually is, and like taking the stuff that we have seen and like thinking about that as a VR game, like that made total sense, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, Brent would agree. But yeah, so I haven't been worried about it. I mean, I figured like with VR coming out and them kind of probably seeing that as an opportunity to kind of maybe push the game more towards the vision they had for it. I just figured like it probably needed more retooling, so it would make more sense just to not say anything about it. So, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something with this at Paris Games Week. I know they're a European studio, so
Yeah.
that's over on their side of the world. But yeah, dude, I've been hoping like if we did see Dreams resurface, that it would be a VR game. Sounds very much to be the case. So I'm excited. I mean, the stuff we've seen, like sitting there thinking about building some of these things that we could do in VR, like kind of bringing some Little Big Planet tools into building a VR world. Like, dude, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to actually touch like Brent's cactus that he puts out.
Yeah, to actually scale that mountain and to reach out and touch that cactus, that would be an incredible feeling. Bender, you're a huge Media Molecule fan. You love Little Big Planet. Is it encouraging to hear about Dreams once again? And do you think Frankie's onto something there? With Paris Games Week is maybe the spot where we see Dreams resurface?
It very well could be. And to hear at least a confirmation, as we all suspected, that it is going to be a VR enabled game, that makes me more interested in it. I think that's a perfect fit from what we've seen from that game. That's seems like it's going to be an interesting thing to experience. And she said something in that quote that piqued my interest. Is that I had kind of only kind of thought about is she said something about how you'll experience the dreams of Media Molecule and their community, and be able to create your own dreams. So what makes me think is maybe that's why they've taken so long with this thing, is they're trying to kind of come up with their own curated list of experiences that we can jump into, get a feel for how the game works and the mechanics and the sort of things that you can create, and then you get to go from there. Which that sounds much more interesting and intriguing to me, to be able to for them to have preset things, which we didn't know for sure if that's what they were going to be doing or not. We didn't really know much about this game, but for them to know that we're going to jump in, they're already going to have a bunch of things for us to check out and play and experience in this game, and that'll get the creative juices flowing, and maybe that'll give us ideas for what some things that we can do in the game. I think that sounds really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of with you, Frankie, on the Paris Games Week thing. I think that makes sense. Now that we know that they're having a conference or they're having a media showcase during the Paris Games Week, this seems like the ideal opportunity to set aside maybe 10, maybe even 20 minutes to kind of explain to us what Dreams is, to kind of repitch this game to us, to re-show it off to the world. Like this is not a conference that's going to have as high a profile as a PSX or as an E3. So I think they can take this opportunity to spend some time and really dive into Dreams and maybe kind of figure out a way to explain to us just what this game is and reintroduce it to everybody and get us excited about it. All right, fellas, so our final bit of news for the week, we are going to touch on July's NPD numbers. So, interestingly enough, they didn't declare a hardware winner. They kind of said that the Switch and PlayStation 4 led the charge in hardware sales, which was strange.
They actually put out another article, the Switch outsold the PlayStation 4, but they were pretty neck and neck.
Okay. I did not see that one, so apparently...
Sorry, that one, it was weird because they normally post that one first, but this month, for whatever reason, they posted the software list first.
Okay.
And this one they posted a couple days later.
Okay, so the Switch topped the hardware chart. And then on the software side of things, very interesting list here. So at number 1 overall, Splatoon 2, which is a little surprising, but I guess this game is much more popular than I expected it to be.
Brent likes it a whole lot.
Yeah, well, Brent's kind of strange, but
that's true.
So the thing about Splatoon 2 being at the top of this list is Nintendo does not report digital sales for their products. So Splatoon 2 is at the top of this list without factoring in digital sales. Now, at number 2 is our good buddy Crash Bandicoot. Now, we talked about this last month, but where did Crash land last month? Was it 4?
Crash Land.
Yeah, you like that?
I thought it wasn't it like...
It was either...
Wasn't it 1 last month, or was it the month before? It was at least 2 months in a row that it was number 1.
Yeah, it was number one in like physical sales, but I think when it came to NPD, I believe it was somewhere between 2 and 4 last month.
Yeah, because I think when it came out, Tekken and Injustice had beat it out, right?
I don't remember exactly.
Because I know it came out in June, so
Yeah.
I remember Tekken was the best-selling game that month. And I know Crash was somewhere under it, but I think Tekken and Injustice were like neck and neck in June. So it might have been at 3 or 4 because Crash was right after that.
Okay. So this is the second month that Crash has been in the NPD because it came out in June. This is July's NPD. So what I'm getting at here, the moral of the story here with all of this is this game in its second month of release is still at number 2 on the charts, right behind Splatoon 2 and above Grand Theft Auto 5, the game that just keeps on giving. At number 4, Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, a very nice showing for that game, a remastered title that's only available on the PS4.
I heard a lot of good things about that game.
Yes. Many people very, very happy with the remaster on that title. Breath of the Wild over there at number 5. Injustice 2 staying strong at 6. Mario Kart 8 at number 7. Overwatch at 8. Rainbow Six Siege still hanging out here. You know, and Ubisoft recently announced that this game has surpassed 20 million registered players, which is pretty impressive for the way that game started. So kudos to Ubisoft and Rainbow Six Siege for what they've been able to do with that title. And rounding out number 10, another stalwart, NBA 2K17. 11 through 20, we've got Ghost Recon Wildlands, Modern Warfare Remastered, Black Ops 3, Minecraft at 14, Infinite Warfare hopping in at 15. The
Why?
lowest.
You guys don't need to buy it anymore.
The lowest of the Call of Duty games on this list. MLB The Show, MLB 17 The Show, still on the list there at 16. ARMS, falling a little bit down the charts here to 17. Battlefield 1 at 18. Mass Effect Andromeda, still there at 19. That game on sale a lot in recent weeks. So if
Currently on sale on PSN.
Yeah, still on sale right now. So if that game continues to be on sale, I think we'll still see it on the top 20 charts here. And then Tekken 7 having a large fall from grace down to number 20. Still in the top 20 though. So I don't know. Does anything stand out to you on this list, Frankie?
Just Final Fantasy. I was kind of surprised to see it up that high. Considering it's a remaster, and I'm not too familiar with Final Fantasy 12, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm interested. I've seen a lot of people talking about that game on Twitter, so people sound like they're having a great time with it. I've never played one of them, so I'm thinking about hopping in there at some point.
Yeah, that's a different Final Fantasy than a lot of the other ones. I mean, they're all different, but this one especially has a unique system that people have grown to love more and more over the years. I think this was probably the perfect time to remaster that game. But yeah, by all accounts, it's a fantastic remaster. Bender, how about these Switch games? Splatoon 2, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, all in the top 10 here, still remaining in the top 10. ARMS is down there in the top 20 as well. What do you make of this, man?
That's pretty cool. Splatoon 2 seems to be doing really well for them. I've been kicking around the idea of picking it up myself, if nothing else to check out the single player, and then I don't know how much I'll get into the multiplayer, but it's a fun game. Since playing the first one, it's a cool game. It's a fun multiplayer experience. If they could get the whole voice chat thing down, then that'd be a really good game.
Oh, they got it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they could get it up, I guess. I don't know. No, but I think that's cool. That's good. I'm glad the Switch games are thriving, and hopefully they can make sure that there's plenty of Switches to go around for people who want to buy this thing. So, yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
They announced a bundle
for
Splatoon 2.
They did. There's a Splatoon 2 bundle that is either already in stores or will be making its way over to stores. Not sure yet on that.
I think it's out in Europe and it's coming here next month.
Okay. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that if you're holding out for Splatoon. Man, I'm surprised that Splatoon charted this high. I know it had a following on the Wii U, but I just Didn't think it was gonna be this popular now on the Switch as well. But yeah, it's been a boon for them. It's been a huge title. Lots of people picking it up. Lots of people playing it. So kudos to Nintendo for doing their thing on that.
Dude, I really hope that Mario Rabbids also does very well. I just like these big games coming out from Nintendo and charting pretty high. I mean, obviously people are buying them, so that's one that I'm gonna be interested to see if that one follows suit, just because I have vested interest in that one.
That one, I have no doubt that one's gonna chart very high, just based on the Mario name alone. Even if the game was garbage and nobody liked it, it would still chart high just off Mario's name alone. So the fact that he's in there, I don't know if it's a game that's gonna have the legs of like a Breath of the Wild or a Mario Kart 8. We'll see how that evolves over time. But at least initially, people are gonna pick that game up just off the strength of that damn Italian plumber. Yeah, interesting to me that Injustice 2 here. This has been a huge title for NetherRealm. This game still sitting at number 6 here. It was the second best-selling Xbox One title of the month, the fourth best-selling PlayStation 4 title. So Injustice 2 carrying on very strong. We know that there's Fighter Pack number 2 is going to be announced at Gamescom coming up here soon. We there's some tournaments that have been going on around Injustice 2, so the competitive scene very strong around that game right now. So I like to see that. Injustice 2, a fantastic game. And we also have the best-selling games of 2017 so far. So, Frankie, you mentioned Mass Effect Andromeda sitting at number 7 on this list. At number 1, still Ghost Recon Wildlands. Breath of the Wild at number 2. For Honor at number 3. Grand Theft Auto at 5. Horizon at Grand Theft Auto 5 is at 4. Horizon is at 5. Injustice 2 is at number 6. There's Mass Effect at 7. Resident Evil 7 still sitting there at 8. NBA 2K17 at 9. And Infinite Warfare actually on the top-selling list here at number 10. So there you have it. July's NPD. Interesting as always to kind of look at these stats here. Yeah, so basically, if Nintendo can keep product on the shelves, people are ready to buy this system. So if they can figure out a way to get the stock figured out, the Switch is going to continue to do very well. But they did mention that July was heavily driven by Splatoon 2. So a lot of people hopping out, grabbing a Switch with a copy of Splatoon 2. So really interesting. I'm be curious to see the attach rate on that game. So that is going to do it for the news, fellas. We got an email here from our friend Herman. So he says, "Hey guys, I wanted to know if you would dedicate a podcast segment or maybe even a whole episode to Destiny 2. Like a pre or post-launch episode talking about what you guys are looking forward to in the game, what you hope to see that hasn't been announced yet, any concerns, etc. Personally, I'm looking forward to the story itself. It's amazing that we actually are threatened and to have a reason to fight for something. I'm also looking forward to the raid, even though we have no clue of what it entails. Hopefully it revolves around the story and includes Gaul in some way. I think that's a pretty safe bet, Herman. Keep up the great work, fellas, and I look forward to joining your Short Pause clan." Herman, we will definitely get you involved in the Short Pause clan moving forward. So, Bender, what do you think about what Herman's asking here? He's asking us to dedicate possibly an entire podcast, either pre or post Destiny 2. I will tell you this, Herman. There's no doubt that we will be talking a lot about Destiny 2 in the weeks and months to come. Absolutely, like when that game releases, there will be at least a very large segment of our podcast will be dedicated to us talking about Destiny 2 and our impressions of it. But what do you think, Bender? What do you think about doing something prior to Destiny 2 or after Destiny 2? Maybe even an entire episode on Destiny 2.
I'd be okay with that. I love talking Destiny. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot to discuss after we get our hands on the game for the first time, and especially after that first week of playing. I think there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to want to talk about, all the things we've discovered and happened across, and all the weapons we've been getting and all that stuff, the story and everything. That'd be great. And as far as the raid is concerned, I think that it's a very good. There's definitely going to be a raid where we fight Gaul. The only thing that could possibly be, I could see them possibly doing like some sort of different raid to start with and then build up to another raid where we fight Gaul like later on, possibly. But there's definitely going to be a raid where Gaul is the end boss. That is going to be a thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait to play Destiny 2. So yeah, I'm telling you, Herman, there's definitely going to be plenty of Destiny 2 talk after that game comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Gaul is going to be in that raid because I just think back to the Taken King, how when we kind of went through that story, you know, the final boss in the story mode was Oryx, and you fought him on on a far lesser level than what you do in the raid. I mean, my gosh, on a far lesser level than what you have to do when you come face to face with Oryx in the raid. I could see them doing something similar with Destiny 2, just because Gaul is at the center of the story. And for those people that don't get a chance to do the raid, like, they're going to want some type of closure to that story. So if by the time you get to the end of Destiny 2, you fought Gaul and you've, finished off the story, I feel like they're going to then have to bring him back into the raid at that point. Like, it's going to be time for us to do away with him once and for all.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. The only reason I would cast any doubt on that is they seem to really be doubling down on ways to get people involved in the raids this time around.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, something happens in that story where he kind of gets away from your clutches and the raid is actually like the end of Gaul's story. Because it seems like they're really doubling down on getting people involved in doing the raid. So
could be.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that be a thing.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Frankie, what do you think about an entire show dedicated to Destiny 2, or at least a significant portion of it prior or after the release of the game?
Sounds like short pause circa 2015. So,
or
yeah,
short pause circa 2017 for the last 3 months.
Yeah, that's true too. So
you go back.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've been kicking around some ideas for some Destiny centric stuff. So I don't know what's gonna come of any discussions we've had so far, but. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, it's a game that we're all going to invest a lot of time into. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it because I want to play through the story, but I also don't. There's so many other games coming out that I don't want to fall into the same trap I did the last time around, where I completely ignore everything, just play Destiny. Not that that's a bad thing, but at the same time, there are so many games coming out this year that I cannot wait to play. The sequels to a couple of my favorite games, namely Wolfenstein and Shadow of War. So I don't know. I definitely I'm trying to figure out what to do because I know you guys are all going to hop in. So I know Jamie's picking it up. So I know we got guys like Herman and Angels and Demons who want to play with us as well. So I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it because I want to go through the story, but I want to go through the story with somebody who hasn't played it yet. So Jamie's looking at my best bet for that right now. So I don't know, it's really just going to kind of hinge on when he picks the game up, which I think he's getting it at launch. But back to your question, I wouldn't be surprised if we do something, whether it be dedicating a whole podcast to it, a lengthy segment. We've done things we've done before, but I mean, I also think it would be cool if we did something even different and just had like our own Destiny centric podcast in and of itself. So we'll see.
Indeed. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm tripping, I'm falling, I'm barreling down into that hole, and I'm just gonna play Destiny 2, just deal with the consequences of it. So Destiny 2 obviously at the top of my list. The other games I will consider batting an eye at will be Mario Odyssey, Battlefront 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite will be purchased in there as well.
Yeah, you're right. Sometime soon.
Yeah, I won't
that's
be
like
able
2 weeks after Destiny.
Yeah,
that's too soon.
I won't be able to dive like really headfirst into that, but I will add that one to the collection. And then outside of that, it's just gonna kind of be I might dedicate a weekend to Call of Duty World War II just to kind of experience that. But other than that, man, it's all Destiny all the time for me, and I'm totally cool with that. So Herman, we'll get together with Brent. We'll discuss some future plans in terms of how we want to cover Destiny moving forward. And I can assure you, as the fellas have said here, that there will be plenty of Destiny covered from the Short Pause crew here. I don't think you'll be disappointed in that respect. So, thanks again to Herman for writing in. And that's going to do it for the show, guys. So, nice, beefy, lengthy show. There was a lot going on this week. A lot of news we didn't even get a chance to cover. But let's wrap this up. Bender, where can we find you tweeting, gaming, all that good stuff?
You can find me on Twitter at Bender_guitar. You can find me on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network at me_Bender. You can find me on Xbox Live at meBender82. And just a reminder, my review for Mages of Mistralia will be up probably shortly after you hear this podcast. It'll be up on Tuesday, so check it out and see what you think, see what I thought of the game.
Tune in for his Indie Spotlight stream.
Yes.
That as well. Yeah.
Yes. Make sure you tune in and watch Bender play. Frankie?
You can find me on Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Nintendo Network, at Viper Strike.
Nice and easy. I like it. So, for myself, as always, I'll be not tweeting at Piccolo930. That's my PSN ID as well. It's where you can find me on the Switch. One of these days, I'll pull my friend code out. I promise. I just haven't done it yet. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. So we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play. We're on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and catch us on there. Obviously, to watch the video version of the podcast. Any and everywhere you consume podcasts, we're basically there. So check us out. Make sure you're sending us emails, podcast@shortpause.com. So just like Herman, we'll read your email on the show if you have questions, comments, concerns, any of that kind of stuff. www.shortpause.com is the website. Like Bender mentioned, his review of Mages of Mistralia will be on there once the embargo lifts on Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have all of our video coverage and things during the week will go up on there as well. So make sure you're on there and you follow any and everything we do. Follow us on Twitter at The Short Pause as well. If you like this podcast, if you really like this podcast, hop on over to iTunes, leave us a review, preferably a 5-star rating. Let us know why you like the show, and we'd be eternally grateful. If you're not quite ready to give us 5-star rating, that's okay. Hop down into the comments section of the podcast post here. Let us know what you think about the show, or even better, send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com. Let us know your questions, comments, concerns, and then we'll move from there. We just want to make this the best show that you want to listen to each and every week. Once again, I'll be streaming Bleed following Bender's Mages of Mistralia Tuesday night Indie Spotlights. We'll have the doubleheader once again. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. We're on Twitch at Short Pause Gaming. We're on Mixer at Short Pause Gaming. Facebook, whatever. We're any and everywhere you can stream stuff. Just look up Short Pause Gaming. You'll be able to check us out on there. So, thanks to everybody for watching and listening to the Short Pause Gaming podcast. For Bender, for Frankie, for Brent. Follow Brent too at the Dude 1979, the Dude 79 on PSN, the Real Dude 79 on Xbox One. So make sure you follow him as well. So for Bender, for Frankie, I'm Ben. Thanks everybody for tuning in, for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.